Jordan, thank you very much. And what a treat to be in Winston-Salem tonight for a game of such magnitude. And for Wake Forest and NC State, so much on the line. Two of the best quarterbacks in the country about to go toe-to-toe, both with dreams of an ACC championship. On a cool night here, a gigantic game in the conference. And good of you to join us. The kickoff just moments away here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
But the real deal.
Quarterback draw, touchdown, Sam Hartman.
Putting up prolific passing numbers. Make no mistake, Wake Forest is a good football team.
Has tons of time into the end zone. Caught for a touchdown.
Devin Leary quietly having an outstanding season.
And from Truist Field in Winston-Salem, we welcome you to ACC Primetime Football presented by Geico. Not only a clash of two very talented teams, they're also both ranked in the top 20. The Wolfpack at number 16, Wake Forest at number 12. And we look at the top three teams in the Atlantic Division. You can't sleep on Clemson, of course, though the Tigers need help. Wake is 5-0, NC State 4-1. The winner of this one certainly holds the hammer in the Atlantic as you look at the chances to win the ACC Atlantic if you come out on top here tonight. Hi, everybody. Very good of you to join us. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner, former NFL quarterback Tim Hasselbeck. Kelsey Riggs joining us down on the field. Without question, Tim, the biggest game in the conference this season.
And we've been here before. It feels like the biggest game in this stadium. And when coaches talk to their teams about goals at the beginning of the year, it's about winning championships. And after looking at that graphic, if you win tonight, you've got a really good shot to accomplish your goal.
Looking at these two teams, what they do well, NC State, an outstanding defensive team, really one of the best in the country. I think very underrated in that regard. Obviously, the Wolfpack, they are outstanding in that regard. And on the offensive end for Wake Forest, they average 45 points a game, one of the top three scoring teams in America.
This is strength on strength, Dave, and it's going to be fun to watch because when you look at Wake Forest offensively, they do so much to challenge you on the defensive side. You know, they can run it. Their quarterback is such a great distributor. They have receivers that do a great job of winning one-on-one matchups. And then when you look at NC State, even though they've suffered some injuries this year on the defensive side of the ball, they are thriving. They are tough to score against. They got linebackers that fly around. They create turnovers. They just do a tremendous job of keeping you out of the end zone. When you look at these numbers, something has to give tonight. It's going to be fun to watch and see what does.
And for more on this one, we toss it down to the field and Kelsey Riggs.
Well, guys, for Wake Forest, it's not just an opportunity for them to respond to their first loss of the season last week, but something that came up in their captains' meetings this week, where players said they vividly remember coaches recruiting them and saying, we want you to come here and help us win an ACC championship. That was the dream. That was the goal. And they told their coaches this week, it's not just for us. This is November football that matters for the program we're building here at Wake Forest. Sam Hartman said it might not be December yet, but there's an ACC championship on the line.
All right, Kelsey, thank you very much. Wake Forest will get their crack at it right away. They will have the football. But on the offensive end for NC State, don't forget about Devin Leary. 25 touchdown passes, Tim. Only 3 interceptions. He's having a great year.
He's having a ridiculously good year. And what's happening is because so many other quarterbacks in the conference have had good seasons, we've kind of overlooked Devin Leary, who, you're right, Dave, has been awesome. And he's done everything that this North Carolina State team has needed him to do, protected the football, but he also can carry the team offensively.
NC State won the toss. They defer, so Wake Forest will receive the opening kick. We'll get a look at that high-flying offense right away. A game of tremendous importance in the ACC. Usually that game would be Clemson FSU, but this year it's NC State and Wake Forest. Trenton Gill about to lay into it. Keyshawn Williams back at the 5-yard line, and that'll be through for a touchback. It'll come out to the 25. Sam Hartman, who broke the school record against North Carolina, responsible for 7 touchdowns, Tim, in one game, 5 passing and 2 rushing. He can do it all.
Yeah, and it's good to point that out because he's a better runner than I think people realize. He's got great command of this offense. His journey has been a unique one, from being the starter to then being the backup, but he has taken over between last year and this year and been really good for the Demon Deacons.
Wake's last 3 games have been ridiculous. They've scored 170 points. That's 57 points per game with that mesh-style offense. Ellison getting the first carry. One of the problems, of course, is even though that's a school record over 3 games, they've also been allowing 40 points per game.
Yeah, that's been the challenge. I think the expectation that they're going to score 30 every game. You just need the defense to come up with enough stops.
Dave Clawson said this week the defense has either been really, really good or really, really bad. We'll see what shows up tonight. He's going to throw, and that's going to be batted away. And man, that happened several times in the North Carolina game. There's a flag down, but batted down once again. That was a real problem against the Tar Heels.
And it's an interesting situation with their offense where
for defensive pass interference, the pass was tipped. Incomplete pass. Go down.
And that's a good call by the official because the ball's batted by Devin Betty. And you watch Hartman after the fake. He's climbing up in the pocket. Normally guys are retreating back into the pocket after the fake, but because of the way the mesh works, he climbs right afterwards.
Wants to throw again. 3rd down and 9. Now he's going to run with it. Hartman on the move. Getting to the 30. Takes a little bit of a hit there as he goes out of bounds. Stopped by Chris Ingram. Came up from the corner, but he gains 6. He can hurt you that way.
He can, and what's interesting is you see Drake Thomas running him out of bounds, and Drake Thomas is a guy that has really had to step up with the injuries at the linebacker position, and he's kind of been forced to be the signal caller. But I've really been impressed with his ability to make plays in space as he runs Hartman out of bounds short of the 1st down. He's really stepped up with Isaiah Moore and Peyton Wilson's injuries.
So Wake to punt on 4th down and 3. With there Thomas fading back, and at the 20-yard line taking the football there, a 46-yard kick. So Devin Leary, they talk about his arm talent, and I'm fascinated by that because it seems to me you can't teach that. You're born with that.
Now, he's a talented thrower. There's no question about it. Just even watching him pregame throw the football, he can spin it just about as well as anyone you'll see in college football. The other thing he's got going for him, Dave, is he's tough. I think mentally and physically tough. Just hasn't been bothered by some of the things that have been thrown his way.
Yeah, really stays in the pocket. He hangs in there. Not shy about taking it a flag down right away.
Full start. Number 54, offense.
So against the Wolfpack, they'll be backing up right away.
And Dave, you mentioned the atmosphere here, and it's as good as any atmosphere we've seen. We've done a number of games here, and I must think some crowd noise, a false start to start it off when you're backed up near the student section.
And a lot of the pack traveling for this one, no question, from all around the state. He's going to air it out onto the sideline and complete. And got that one complete to his favorite man, Demezi, the #1 target, for a 14-yard gain and a 1st down.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with arm talent here. I mean, he's just off the right hash, and that ball is drilled to the sidelines. It's a nice read, excellent throw.
2nd down and 1 coming up. And he's back to throw. In the pocket, good time. Airs it out. Long one here. And a tremendous catch. And he's going to be wrestled down. And that's going to be Devin Carter on the near sideline for a huge gain for NC State.
It's a double move by Devin Carter. As we talk about arm talent, let's just continue talking about it because you couldn't have handed it to Devin Carter any better than Devin Leary just threw it to him.
For 54 yards. First down and 10 at the 15-yard line. Wolfpack on the move immediately. Going to throw this one into the flat. Going to be wrapped up on the play, and that is Tian Lassane with the catch. And got nothing there.
Yeah, and there's the double move. You see the stutter go by Carter, and Leary just does an excellent job of just dropping it right on Carter. Look at the throw. Well, Carter turns around, just puts his hands up, and Leary should be excited about that because you can't throw it any better.
North Carolina last week had a lot of success running the football. NC State with a good running attack from time to time. A handoff for Knight. Knight straight ahead. Zonovan Bam Knight with the carry. Wrapped up by Red and a 5-yard pickup.
I think one of the reasons you see their red zone success, the reason for it is they have big physical receivers. They've got tight ends that are big and athletic that they use down in the red zone, and then they still have the ability to run the football. So, you know, a lot at Tim Beck's disposal in situations like this.
3rd and 6. And from the 11-yard line, Leary has to run, running for his life. Lost the football. It's on the deck and scooped up by NC State around the 20-yard line. But big-time pressure brought by Travion Red. He's the rover. He was charging.
Yeah, and Devin Leary is trying to get this ball out. It's the right decision to try to throw it away. We need to look and see if this ball starts to come out before his arm is going forward. To me, that looks like he's got control of the football. It should be an incomplete pass.
Wait for it. The play is under further review.
The play under further review. 11:29 to go here in the first.
We'll have a foul for intentional grounding.
Replay communicator is Peter Voss tonight. So they are going to take a look. Leary under severe pressure by Red. We'll take one more look as we go to the break. And again, fleeing. All right, so this is very interesting. On the field, it was ruled a fumble, recovered by Chase Jones of Wake Forest. Then they go to the review, and here's what they came up with in the end.
The pass was forward and incomplete. There is no foul for intentional grounding. The ball will be placed at the 11-yard line. 4th down.
So grounding as a possibility came up.
Yeah, now here's the deal. It's an incomplete pass. They get that part right. Ball's in Leary's hands as it's going forward. And I think because he's getting hit as he's throwing, and truthfully, he's actually going to throw it in the vicinity of either his tight end, Tootle, or his back, that, you know, because he was hit, it shouldn't be grounded.
So they have a 28-yard field goal attempt coming up for Christopher Dunn. And he is going to drill that one to put the Wolfpack in front from 28. Now Wake Forest, of course, coming off that tough loss against North Carolina. Dave Clawson said, we were not the team I've been watching all season long. He started with, as he chatted with us this week, 4 personal foul penalties, which were very out of character for his team.
Completely out of character, and when you look at the fact that, you know, they're up 18 points in the 3rd quarter, you think, all right, here we go. This is Wake Forest. They're scoring too many points, but unfortunately for them defensively, Ty Chandler ran wild, and you know, it was a great effort on an onside kick late in the game, but it wasn't enough to get it done, and they couldn't come up with stops. And when you think about whether it was a turnover or the penalties, and that's really the thing that I think ends up being the key. Those 11 penalties, 4 of them personal fouls, that's the part where Dave Clawson is saying, who is this football team?
They kind of took the bait, didn't they?
They did. I think they knew, you know, a bit of a rivalry game with an in-state opponent, and, you know, a lot of talking, and kind of fell victim to it.
Demon Dinkins at 8-1, 5-0 in the ACC, and the road to the ACC championship goes right through Winston-Salem this year. It lost to North Carolina. Was not a conference defeat, by the way. So keep that in mind with ACC expansion of 14 teams in 2013. Wake and North Carolina were in opposite divisions then. That limited the matchups between them. In an effort to keep that rivalry going, the schools agreed to play a pair of non-conference games. One of them this year. They had not met in conference play since 2015. So Wake Forest on the attack. They have scored at least 35 points in every game this season. They're the only team in America that can say that. Ellison's going to get the carry. Christian Beal-Smith is out with a lower leg injury, so he will not play in this game tonight. It'll pretty much be Ellison and the sophomore back Christian Turner getting most of the carries.
Yeah, in which is, both of those backs have had plenty carries this year, but certainly good to have your full complement of
under
backs.
Pressure, he's going to go down hard. Corey Durden all over him, the FSU transfer. 6'4", 310. He's coming. They're going to lose 2 on that sack.
And North Carolina State did a good job of getting to Sam Hartman in the past. I think they feel like they can get to the quarterback, even just rushing 3 like they did there.
3rd down 7. Hartman, good time in the pocket, but it's tipped again. So it's happened a couple of times already in this game, and that's a pattern the last 2 games up against the talented Wake Forest quarterback.
Yeah, and I think it's Devin Betty again who gets his hands up, 26. The linebacker that's filling in because of the injuries to Isaiah Moore and Peyton Wilson. That's his second batted ball. And, when you talk to Dave Dorn, one of the first things he said is we need to play well defensively. We really need to get our hands up. And in 2 series, they've had 2 deflections. Got to be happy with that so far.
So Mora, the freshman punter out of Dalton, Georgia. And Thomas back at the 30. He's going to step up, and it'll take a hop. And it will continue to roll right around the 25-yard line. So a 46-yard kick in the end. Larry on top. NC State leading it 3-0.
ACC Network College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance. And in part by new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar and Wendy's Hot and Crispy Fries. Try the best combo ever today.
Wake Forest and NC State have been at it a long time. The 115th meeting of these schools. The home team has really dominated lately. NC State since 01 is 8-2 in Raleigh, 2-8 here at Wake Forest. Wolfpack on top 3-0. And Devin Leary with Ricky Person in the backfield. Leary will sling that, but incomplete, and intended for Thayer Thomas. Tried to get him over the middle, but that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, that's a nice play by Nasir Greer, who been coming back from injury and slowly playing more and more each week. And it's interesting to have him over Thayer Thomas, who they like to get the ball to in some of those RPOs, those run pass options, and Greer up to the task.
Leary coming into the weekend. No ACC quarterback had thrown for more touchdown passes in ACC games than him with 17, but stacked up as Ricky Person and going nowhere. Dion Bergen, and a lot of pushing and shoving there too. Expect this one to be very physical.
Yeah, and I think that Dave Clawson probably is expecting a lot of energy to come from his defense, and Person a little bit frustrated, and Bothroyd, who's really probably playing the best out of their defensive lineman for Wake Forest, not really having it.
3rd down 10. Wolfpack already with a big hitter. They went for over 50 yards. Leary looking long again. Airs it out down the sideline, but incomplete. Overthrowing his receiver. Good pressure on the quarterback by Greer again. And as you mentioned, he's been a guy in and out of their lineup for Wake Forest. When healthy, he's a terror.
Yeah, they think that he's their best player. So basically, they walk 2 of these guys up into the A-gap. They bailed this one out, but they're coming off of the right side with Greer. And ultimately what happens, he's coming off the other side. Ultimately what happens is, when you walk guys up into the A-gap, it holds the interior of your offensive line, which creates opportunities on the edge. And so what happens is you can then end up getting a free runner, force Leary to throw the ball sooner, and he's not able to connect with his receiver.
NC State with an outstanding kicking game. Trenton Gill with a big leg. Warren will take the fair catch there, and that's a 44-yard kick. Field position, major reason that the Wolfpack have been so good defensively.
You know, it really is. Dave Clawson said to us on 85% of their drives that they've been defending a long field, meaning 75 yards or more. And look, when you have a quarterback that doesn't turn the football over and an outstanding punter, you know, that type of thing will happen. And, you know, I think it's one of the things you kind of need to do when you're going to play an offense as explosive as Wake Forest.
Tip your cap to the Wolfpack faithful. They showed up tonight in a big way. The pass is going to be low and incomplete. Landing on the deck right at the feet of A.T. Perry. Perry and Roberson have been sensational and combined for 92 catches this season and 8 touchdowns. 18 touchdowns.
Weird. This one just came off of Sam Hartman's hand. Funny. Just had him open, didn't make the throw, looked at his hand afterwards.
Hartman has time this time, rifles that one incomplete, but there are flags down all over the place. Intended for Roberson. 9:18 to go here in the first. 3-0 NC State.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 25, defense, 10-yard penalty, and an automatic first down.
Here's Donald Stewart on the near side. Shaheem Battle, the man who held him.
As good as North Carolina State's defense is, if you want to say there's a weak link, it's been the ability to play man coverage with their corners, and the challenge tonight against these big physical receivers that have great catch radius. You know, you have to be careful that you don't panic and start to grab them, because it'll be obvious.
NC State jumping on the line. That was Corey Durden a little bit early. And another penalty coming up. It's their third.
Offside with contact, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
There's nothing that excites an offensive line more than when guys jump off sides. Look at the excitement by the offensive lineman. Like,
it's Christmas morning.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. We got you.
Let's open our gifts.
Just letting you know, you just jumped off sides.
Back to throw Hartman. And a quick pass there for Stewart, and complete for the first down. And a 13-yard gain, and Wake on the move.
Yeah, and I'd say that's the good job by Hartman, because again, he's climbing in the pocket, people all around him, zone coverage. Good throw to Donald Stewart.
Only Ohio State and Pitt are scoring more points per game than Wake Forest. And this offense, which is complicated, keep it on the ground here. Wayne Ruggiero, the offensive coordinator, telling us about just how good this offense has been the last 3 games. I mean, this is ridiculous. 643 yards a game?
Yeah, I think sometimes we joke about it's video game type numbers. Those are video game type numbers.
Hartman over the middle, batted up again. It's going to be picked off by the Wolfpack. A flag is down. Betty with the pick, but a flag is dropped, and Clawson is clapping.
Roberson gets interfered with, which is going to end up being the
Pass
call.
interference, number 12, defense. The ball being placed in the spot of the foul, and an automatic first down.
But Devin Boykin, you see him right there. He's just too early. Gets there before the ball, and you know it's interesting because Devin Boykin has really stepped up and played well. Sam Hartman's like, yeah, listen, I saw it. I hope you saw it too.
Wolfpack enjoying a terrific season. Could be truly magical. Could be headed to the ACC championship. And keep this on the ground for Turner. And stopped by Tanner Ingle, the human missile, and a 4-yard gain. But as aggressive as a player can be in the ACC this year.
This is an amazing tackle, and if he doesn't make it, then Turner is off and running, and he knows it. Tanner Ingle, good job of seeing it and firing his gun and making the play.
Incomplete. and intended for Christian Turner. And for more on Engel, let's toss it down to Kelsey.
Well, guys, I talked to him this week about that nickname he has, the Tasmanian Devil, and he said, with this offense, one of the things that I have to do is I have to slow down. I always want to keep my feet moving, but with this offense and the mesh point, you got to take your time and really see what they're doing it before you decide. He said he got the name 2 years ago, really liked it and stuck to it, and really worked hard to make some improvements here throughout his time at college. He said knew coming here that he was going to be around some really good football players. His words, not mine. He called them football geeks. He said they taught him so much and he's learned a lot more.
Got an injury. Joseph is nicked up, and we'll have more in a moment. Third and 6 coming up. I expect to see a bonfire or two out there on that hill at some point tonight. First quarter, 3-0. NC State, as the temperatures are expected to be in the low 40s, upper 30s tonight. Hartman scanning the field, throwing for the corner. And a tremendous play in the end zone. Perry will haul that one in 24 yards for the touchdown. Perry turning to find the pass. 24 yards for the score.
Great catch. I mean, you just look at, he basically, and this happened last week too with A.T. Perry, is kind of using that left arm to get separation. I don't think there's any doubt that he pushes Tanner Engel down as he goes up and fights for the football, and that's not a matchup that's going to be in Engel's favor anyway at 5'10", going against the 6'5" A.T. Perry.
Nick Skiba on for the extra point. He's had a great career, a historic career, and he'll drill that. Wake Forest on the board to make it 7-3. Hartman with his 61st touchdown pass. He has broken the school record with that one.
That was remarkable because it took forever to develop. When you look what happens here, he's up here. He's going to run a little hitch, and as they're running here, he's just going to adjust, and then you end up having two guys down the field together. I don't believe that this is the design of the play. I think it ends up taking forever, like an under and go. It's an outstanding job of pass protection. And then, you know, there's contact down the field. Dave Dorn was unhappy with it, and Sam Hartman doesn't care about the call because he just threw a 61st career touchdown pass, which is a school record, and A.T. Perry. And that's just kind of the personality of these Wake Forest wide receivers. They're big, and at the moment of truth, they just go fight for the ball.
Man, did he fight too to hang on and control the football. That's his 11th touchdown pass reception. Knight taking a couple of hits, brings it out close to the 30-yard line. A 21-yard return for Bam Knight. And another scuffle away from the football. A lot of talking going on between these two. I think emotions running very high in a game of this importance.
It's the magnitude of the game. It's an in-state rival, and that's not good to see Bam Knight limping off. He's such a crucial part of their run game. Their best all-around back. But yeah, Dave, this has been chippy, and I don't think we typically see that out of Wake Forest football teams. Some of the extra stuff, but we've seen some of it already, on both sides.
Tanner Engel said this week, watching Devin Leary, it's like watching an artist at work. He's been that good. Dumps it off short and got the pass complete and got that one across the 45. Trent Penix, the fullback, and a gain of 17 yards and a first down.
Yeah, Penix just scrapes across the formation as they fake the run, and I think he's a really interesting player. He's a former tailback that, because of the depth at the running back position at NC State, he's essentially moved to tight end. You can do a lot of things with him because of his versatility.
Heart and Soul guy said this week, we are a really special team. Leary on the move and complete to Rooks on the near side. He'll pick up 7 on that pass.
It's a good job by Devin Leary. They're trying to work a double move to Carter. It's not there. He looks backside to Emezi. That's not there. Comes back off of it and finds a completion to Rooks. It's a good job of having poise when the shot play isn't there.
2nd down 8. Six and a half to go here in the first. Penix again, but no. There's Ricky Person there, and Tyler Williams with the stop on the play, and he's going to lose 3.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen so far, we've seen a pretty active defensive line for Wake Forest as Tyler Williams makes that play. And if they can hang in there in the run game, that's going to allow Wake Forest to kind of protect their secondary a bit more, which I know they would like to do on this 3rd and 11.
Leary to put it in the air, looking downfield. Airs it out long and incomplete. And intended for Porter Rooks, but a long pass and a flag. And take a look.
I think Emeka Mezi gets held by the corner.
Well, the crowd in full throat booing this call, but a flag down with 5:49 to go in the first.
I'll tell you what, Mezi gets held at the top of the screen. If that's what it is, it's the right call. If they call this on Anderson, that's a bad call.
Interference, defense, 15-yard penalty, and an automatic first down.
Automatic first down.
So here's the top, okay? That's a Mezi right there. He gets held. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he pulls him down. That's defensive holding. Now, that's not the call. I think they end up calling Anderson 45 because of where they were putting the flag. And if they called it on that, then that's why Dave Clawson is taking his hat off and throwing it and is furious.
Football spotted at the 41-yard line. First down 10 for the Wolfpack. Trailing 7-3. And Leary keeping that, dives ahead to the 40. He picks up 1 yard on the stop by Kendron Wayman. Demon Deacons defeated NC State when they last met here in 2019, 44-10. It's just the second time both of these teams come in nationally ranked. Last time 1992. NC State was number 13. Wake was number 25. Pack won that game 42-14. That was in Raleigh.
And Dave, these are two really good football teams. You know, solid all the way around for NC State, both sides of the ball, and obviously an incredible offense for Wake Forest.
Pass started to the sideline and dragged out. Emezi, who has 45 receptions on the season. We saw him become the #1 pass catcher in NC State history earlier this year against Boston College.
And I think that the size and athleticism of these receivers for North Carolina State against these corners for Wake Forest, that is the biggest matchup advantage for North Carolina State.
3rd down 3. From the 34. And a handoff for Person straight on. Not much room to operate there, although just enough as he got 4. And he picks up a first down.
You know, when you look at the backs for NC State, Bam Knight's really good. Ricky Person has been a very good, tough runner throughout his time at North Carolina State. And they have a good offensive line, especially the left side. It's been a bit of a mystery that they haven't run the ball more effectively in recent weeks.
Yeah, they certainly can. There he's going to throw and hit his running back. And Person is held by Masterson on the far sideline. Going to lose 2.
You know, the beginning of the year, we talked to Dave Dorn, and he said, look, our left side of our offensive line is nasty. Look at the first 5 games, 171 yards rushing. And, you know, the last 4, not able to get to the century mark. And what's interesting is that they're big, they're strong, they have a good scheme, but it's just it hasn't worked. And I don't know if it's mainly because people have committed to stop it, but offensively they've been able to survive because of the play of the quarterback.
Going to go short. It's Person again. And a slip. He picks up 3, but could have had more.
Could have had a lot more, and I'm not sure why Ricky Person was even thinking about cutting back. Look at this screen. They get it. It's set up beautifully. Mezzi gets enough of Masterson, and if he just stay outside, he's probably going to be fine as Roberts trying to get to the perimeter, but definitely left some yards right there.
Sure did. Big call here. 3rd down 9 for the Pack. Trying to continue this drive. Brooks in motion. Larry pressure on him. Got the pass away, but incomplete as he took a hit. Intended for Riley. Couldn't get it to him to bring up 4th down.
It's a good job by Rondell Bothroyd on the left side of your screen. Just taking the best offensive lineman for NC State and running him into Devin Leary. Listen, that's Ike Ekwonu, who's 6'4", 320 pounds at least. And Bothroyd just ran him back into with the quarterback.
Done on for a 46-yard attempt. Does have a career 65-yarder. Puts the leg into this, and it is good. He drills it. So Dunn with the field goal. Second one of the contest for the Wolfpack. 7-6 game here late in the first.
Lyle Hemphill has got to be thrilled with the fact that he's only given up 6 points because the ball has moved. You see Dave Clawson, he's unhappy about the penalty. And I think defensively, at this point with the way NC State's moved the football, they've got to be happy with the way the defense is kind of hanging in there, especially in the passing game. I don't think they feel like they have to beat Georgia defensively. Dave Clawson told us as much. Because of their offense, you don't have to do that. If you can keep teams to kicking field goals, I think Dave Clawson feels like his group will be able to score enough points that the 3 won't hurt them.
Yep, a week ago they scored 55 and lost 58-55 at Chapel Hill. And the kick will be drilled through the end zone. Wake Forest up by 1. You can catch a women's college basketball doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. Starts at noon Eastern in a Carrier Dome. That'll be Notre Dame and Syracuse, and then coming up at 2 o'clock, Florida against number 5 NC State. NC State looking to bounce back after a 9-point home defeat to number 1 South Carolina to open the season this past Tuesday. College basketball underway. I was at Duke last night to see the Blue Devils take on Army. Duke loaded again. Final season for Coach K in his legendary career. Ellison trying to run off the right. And a strong carry to pick up 9 yards.
I mean, you're just camping out in the state of North Carolina, just calling sports. I mean, who's got it better than you, Dave?
There was a gentleman at the door of the booth tonight wondering when I was going to pay my property taxes. 2nd down and 1. On the ground again, Ellison, and a 1st down. Gavin Van with the stop, but moving the sticks, and a 3-yard gain. NC State with a defense ranked number 6 in FBS, number 10 in rushing defense. Hartman to throw. Pump fake. Now throws short. Another one very short. Done that a couple of times at the feet of A.T. Perry, incomplete.
Yeah, Sam Hartman looks a little bit unsettled. You know, by my count, has missed 3 throws tonight. As you see his numbers, just 2 for 7. I think 3 of them are balls that he should have completed, and quite honestly, throws that he's made all season long. I do think he's got to settle down just a bit.
Incomplete again. Over the middle this time. He wanted Perry once again, but nothing doing. Brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, and make it 4 because he has Perry. And I think Dave Clawson A little bit saying, hey, just settle down. You know, we're okay. A lot of football to be played, and the quarterback that's had a ton of poise all season long, having a hard time finding a rhythm.
Hartman dropping back, now moving his feet. Trying to run it, looking for the stick. Out of bounds he goes, but a terrific run there for 15. Sam Hartman moving the chains.
That's a Will free safety blitz to Hartman's right, and it doesn't get home. And so what happens here? The Will free safety blitz, and ultimately what happens, he's able to escape it and get away from it and pick up the first down. It's a nice play by Hartman.
Trying to keep him moving. Looking for a receiver. Throws incomplete. That one got to Whiteheart, the tight end. Stuck it in there for 13 yards. Player down for NC State. That is Daniel Joseph. Couple of men down, in fact, along with Van. Evan Van and Joseph both in some pain right now. With 1:12 left in the first. And Wake Forest up 7-6. And Ingle a little bit dinged up too. It's that kind of night.
And you see, you know, here's Ingle. You see, I mean, just a human heat-seeking missile. He goes flying in there and kind of hurts himself. And then you see Joseph, Daniel Joseph, and David Van both kind of hobbled. And I will tell you, David Van's a guy that's really shown up. You know, watching NC State defensively, Xavier Jackson, you know, banged up, more opportunity for Van, and he's been really good, and looks like he's kind of grabbing something on that right leg as he limps off the field. And then Joseph, who had to come off earlier, he's banged up, and that is not what Dave Doeren needs for this defense.
For more NC State, let's toss it down to Kelsey.
Well, guys, something NC State definitely does not want is any more defensive injuries, because they've just been hit time after time this year. They lost Peyton Wilson very early on, and then Isaiah Moore, another one of not just their defensive leaders, but also their captains on defense. And I was talking to their defensive coordinator, Coach Gibson, before the game on the field just about all the injuries and the consistency this defense has still had. And I said, if you've had defenses in the past that had sustained this many injuries, would they have been able to prove what these guys have? And he said he doesn't think so. It's the way they play for each other. He says he coaches them really hard and they respond well. And he definitely pointed out a few names on defense, especially Drake Thomas. He said early in the offseason, Drake Thomas was the one that was really popping to him, and you can see why, guys.
And Tony Gibson said at times it's taking bubble gum, duct tape, and prayer. Might be the case tonight with this offense. Moving forward, Hartman down to the 30-yard line and a 5-yard scamper.
You know, I think there's an element of truth to that from Tony Gibson because of the caliber of players that they lost. That being said, I think they've replaced talent with talent in many instances where those injuries have happened.
They continue to play defense at such a high level. Ellison really going nowhere on that carry. Terrell Dawkins making sure. End of the first is coming up. You might have expected a more high-flying affair offensively. Sam Hartman has had a difficult first quarter. And NC State has been held to a pair of field goals in this all-important game tonight here in Winston-Salem. End of the first. And Wake Forest will carry a 1-point lead over the Pack into the second quarter. Our ACC primetime game. Heading for the second quarter of play. 7-6. Wake leading NC State. How about this for Wake Forest? Their first quarter with less than 100 yards total offense since October the 9th, when they had 74 against Syracuse. It was a rocky first quarter for Hartman by his standards. They did a touchdown pass, and a flag is down.
Full start, number 62, offense.
Devontae Gordon, the right tackle
Third down
for Wake. Big freshman, 6'5", 305.
And you see Dave Clawson, like, hands on his knees already. Like, guys, like, this isn't us. You know, we were penalized a week ago. That's just not. That's not how he coaches them. It's not been the makeup of this program. You know, they've always done a good job of not turning the football over and then not hurting themselves with careless penalties.
They said last week against Carolina we had a 50-man line up, and that's going to be darted on the play to Williams. Williams trying for the end zone, takes a hit just shy. He rolls into the end zone, almost got in, 34 yards before Powell stopped him to prevent a touchdown, and it's 1st and goal.
Yeah, really good route by Keyshawn Williams. He gets open, and then Hartman delivers the ball between the 1 and the 3, and now they're rolling.
Down to the 1, Ellison. He is into the end zone. Justice Ellison. He will score. Wake Forest from 1 yard out. They did not wait long, did they? And the Demon Deacons are on the board again here at home.
Well, Dave, it's like, you know, you called them out for having a slow first quarter, and they're like, all right, then we'll score right away to start the second.
Right.
That's what we're going to do. And, you know, I think it probably is just a matter of time. Dave Clawson has a chance to talk to his quarterback between quarters and say, settle down. We're going to be fine. Make the throws, and we'll get this going.
Nick Skiba. And the extra point. So 10 plays, 75 yards. Big pass play that got them close.
Yeah, it was hard to see Williams just running kind of a simple out route, but does an excellent job. You see him coming back to the football. And then once that happened, just good run after the catch and then just punching it in. It's a good job of getting movement up front by the offensive line. Blake Whitehart doing a good job at the tight end position of not allowing penetration, and Justice Ellison able to get in there. So, you know, Wake Forest, you know, it's funny. I think it goes to kind of what our expectations are for them, Dave. I mean, here we are outside of 14 and a half minutes in the second quarter, kind of commenting on their struggles, but they've already scored 14.
On pace to smash the school scoring record, getting over 500 yards per game in total offense. That's number 6 nationally coming into play tonight. So Wake to kick off. Good way to stay warm this evening. On top 14-6. So Devin Leary will be moments away from getting a chance to answer. Van Knight into the corner, right over the pylon. Let's see what the call is here.
The receiver gave a fair catch signal.
Did give a fair catch.
Ball he placed at the 25-yard line, 1st down.
So we'll come out to the 25.
Well, it's a good thing he gave a fair catch signal, because had he not, and he clearly does, multiple times.
Well, next Friday, the ACC Network will have a college basketball quadruple header, starting with women's games at 2 and 4 Eastern, followed by Towson and Pitt at 6. Then at 8, Cameron Indoor, Coach K and his number 9 Duke Blue Devils. All games right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. 1st and 10 for the Wolfpack. And a little pitch here into the backfield. On the move is Zonovan Knight. Van Knight rolls out, chased out by Nick Anderson. He'll pick up 12 yards and a 1st down.
You see how scary this can be if you're a defender. Look at Ike Ekwonu, 79 out in space. That is a big boy running down the field. If you're a secondary player, you're like, listen, I just want to string this along and have this back go out of bounds.
All-America candidate.
You know, he's playing left tackle here. Projects, as you see Mel Kiper's ranking, is the number 1 guard coming out. Really talented football player.
At his position, certainly one of the best in America. Leary throwing short. Thomas gets away from one tackler breaking free. And a good gain. Mustafa will wrap him up. Let's get on to Kelsey.
Well, guys, I got to talk with Grant Gibson about Ickey, who you guys are talking about. And he said seeing this guy up close, he stopped and he said, it is amazing. I'm not exaggerating. Amazing the things that he does. He said hardly ever when you're watching film do the guys get really excited when you say, okay, we've got an O-line play. It's Ickey. They said the team absolutely goes crazy when you get to see some of what he does on film.
Brother Rosita is a Notre Dame linebacker, so great talent in the family. Devin Carter in motion. On a play action. Leary on the roll. He'll hit Thomas again. Thomas, who came in with 38 receptions, 6 touchdowns. Both Thayer brothers enjoying standout seasons for NC State. Younger brother Drake, a linebacker. And that's a 1-yard pickup.
And NC State's run a number of these where they fake the run and then they're running a slide or they're scraping across the formation. We've seen it with Penix, we've seen it with Thomas, where they're getting that flat runner coming from the other end of the formation. They're trying to sneak it through because of the fast flow of Wake Forest defense.
2nd down 9. Pass darted and complete. That one caught by Lassane. He'll gain 5 yards on the quick hitter.
And Leary didn't catch that snap clean, and then looked like he was awkwardly trying to get a grip of the football. That's why I think it was a little bit low, forced the receiver to the ground, and now because of that they're faced with a 3rd down.
"25 touchdown passes, only been picked off 3 times. He has been so efficient. Thomas back in, looked like he was shaken up on the previous play. Leary trying to get free. He cannot escape. Bothroyd again. Rondell Bothroyd, we've been calling his name a lot early in this game, Tim.
He's been really good. He just puts on an inside pass move. Here, he's going to start up the field and he's going to come up underneath. And this inside move, he just ends up getting home. Just a bad job of passing it off by Derek Eason and Bryson Spees, the right guard and right tackle. And excuse me, is actually Timothy McKay at right tackle. And Bothroyd definitely having an impact on this game early.
So the Pack has to punt on 4th down and 11, trailing 14-6. Wake to get it back here. Taylor Morin standing back at the 10-yard line. Gill with one of the best legs in all of college football. And a fair catch at the 11, 42-yard punt. Wake Forest back with the football.
PN, home of the college football postseason. Welcome home.
And welcome to Truist Field here at Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Number 16, NC State against number 12, Wake Forest. NC State at 7-2. And Wake at 8-1. Wake 5-0 in the Atlantic Division. NC State is 4-1. Tried for a breakaway there, but that was Jones tying him up. And a 7-yard gain. And Turner almost got free.
He almost snuck through there. It was because Sam Hartman, he held that mesh for so long, and then he was able to get in front of Levi Jones. That helped spring Turner.
2nd down 3. Handoff again. Ellison. Christian Turner with the carry there. And a stop by Drake Thomas after a 2-yard pickup. And Leary getting a little work done. Devin Leary as they work on the left foot and some tape work. Third down and short. And flags down. 9:49 to go in the second.
False start. Number 2. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's on the receiver Stewart, but another penalty.
And these are the things I think that Dave Clawson is wondering, like, who is this team? It was an issue last week, for an illegal procedure because they're not lined up formationally correct, then a false start, which now creates a much more difficult third down against a very good defense, and it happens from a fifth-year player.
Hartman hit as he threw it and incomplete. He took a knock. Serious pressure brought by the Wolfpack, and in particular by Tyler Baker-Williams.
Tyler Baker-Williams just unblocked, top of the screen, bringing a lot of pressure, and Hartman, I'm not sure, knew that it was coming because I didn't get the sense that he was playing with the type of urgency that you would with that type of blitz coming, and kind of fortunate that the ball came out and it wasn't knocked loose prior to the ball being thrown.
Third time 3 and out for Wake Forest, so more to punt. Thomas back at the 45-yard line. High kick will drive him back. Gonna make an effort here. Still up. And finally dragged down by Blake Whiteheart. Able to take him down in coverage. First and 10 coming up.
Wake Forest defensively decided to come play tonight. They've done an excellent job putting pressure on Devin Leary. And Stout in the run game. Tyler Williams there. Then Bothroyd rushing the passer. And if they can be disruptive in the front the way they have been so far, then this looks like a different Wake Forest defense than we've seen at earlier points in this year. And so they've been either great or really bad, never average. Well, tonight they've been great so far.
Down to Kelsey with more on the defense.
Well, I got to talk to their captain, Jasir Taylor, a little bit about what happened last week and them trying to learn from that loss, guys. And he said they put in extra time in the film room all week this week, just doing what they could to try and come back. He said they took it personally when they got out of that game. Coach Himhill, their defensive coordinator, says early in the week it was so serious, it was quiet, it felt like a morgue. But these guys said that extra time together, the leadership that they have, builds extra chemistry, and for them, it seems to be paying off right now.
NC State picks up the first down on the dart to Rooks. Broke a tackle and made the first. So Devin Leary, who had gone 228 pass attempts without an interception before finally throwing one on a Hail Mary against FSU, on the run here, and he will throw that out of bounds. And pressure brought here by Wake again. That was Luke Masterson.
And again, it's pressure on Leary. And, there's not an elite pass rusher. They had Boogie Basham in the past, and he was a matchup problem for a lot of teams. This is a collective effort defensively, and Lyle Hemphill kind of just talking about how hard this group has worked and how much they care about it, and it shows, with the way they're playing tonight.
Empty backfield on second down 10 for the Pack. Leary rifling that one, and it is going to be picked off. Intercepted by J.J. Roberts. Man, was he quick with that step onto the sideline, and intercepted by Wake Forest.
What a great play by J.J. Roberts. He just undercuts this ball to C.J. Riley, and I think his feet are in bounds. And, Wake has been so banged up at corner. What an outstanding play. They've been so banged up at corner, played a bunch of different guys all over the place in the secondary, and that is one heck of a play by Roberts.
It's a great catch, and to keep the foot in. J.J. Roberts, the freshman, 5'11", 195. You were just talking about how good their defense has been. So first down and 10 at the 49-yard line. Justice Ellison in at the back. Hartman on his feet, following blockers straight ahead as he dives and picks up 5 yards. You know, we were listening to Miles Fox on the defensive side for Wake this week, and he said, what we cannot do is let North Carolina beat us twice. He said that would be unacceptable. This game is a test of character.
And I think because they have a veteran group.
Oh, it's going to be picked off, and it was tipped. And picked off by the Wolfpack and by Battle. And a flag is down, but Shaheem Battle with the interception. So trading picks, but a flag is down. 7:51 to go before halftime.
Result of the play is an interception. After the interception and during the return, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 99 intercepting team, 15-yard penalty, first down.
So unsportsmanlike on Daniel Joseph after the pick.
Well, it's been uncharacteristic of both teams turning the football over. First Wake Forest and now NC State with a big one to get the football back.
Well, just 30 seconds between the interceptions. I'm not sure what Daniel Joseph was thinking about. That is an awful penalty.
It's a bad penalty, but also a huge break for NC State just to get the football back after turning it over.
Very lofting one deep, but that's going to be out. Intended for C.J. Riley to bring up second down and 10 for the Wolfpack. So two quick interceptions in this one. 14-6 Wake Forest.
You get the sense, at least I'm getting the sense, that it's a really big football game. And I think that I've seen some uncharacteristic things from both of these teams in a big game. They don't know the magnitude of this and their chances of being an ACC champ if you win this game. And I think we've seen it so far.
And you are holding the hammer if you win this game. And the Atlantic is going to be dropped by Porter Rooks. Right off the hands. He had a catch to make.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a continuation of what I'm talking about. It's an RPO. Leary makes a great read. It's a good throw. It's a little bit back shoulder, but I mean it's in the frame of the receiver's body. It's on Rooks' right shoulder, and if he catches that football, not only does he have a first down, he's got room to run.
Sure did. 3rd and 10. Devin Leary trying to light him up. And a long throw and caught that one out of bounds. So incomplete. Emeka Emezie has been pretty quiet in this game. They've done good work on the really talented receiver.
Yeah, and it's a good job of coverage, and the ball's thrown out of bounds. And here's what's interesting. North Carolina State has faced a ton of 3rd and longs this season, and they've done a pretty good job of getting a completion. And even when they wouldn't pick up the first down, they maybe pick up 8 yards on 3rd and 10. Then they punt the ball with their great punter and flip the field. That's one of the reasons we've talked about this NC State team defending a long field. Well, it's a nice job there of forcing an incompletion and now creating a situation with decent field position.
Flag down. Gill with a booming punt, but a flag.
Full start. Number 85, offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So the 6th penalty for the Wolfpack. Wake Forest with 3, and in past years they'd usually have a 0 up there by this point in the game. So Gill forced to back up at about his 6 or 7. Taylor Morin will have a chance here. It's a low punt. Going to take a bounce and keep on rolling past the 30-yard line. And down around the 26-43-yard kick. Been a number of tips in this game, Tim.
And Dave Doeren talked about his defense needing to play well. And part of that is the defensive line in the front getting their hands up. And it was Devon Betty twice. Then it was the tip by Joseph that led to the pick. And Sam Hartman's not the biggest guy. With the design of the offense for Wake Forest, he's throwing the ball really close to the line of scrimmage oftentimes. And when that happens, it is difficult to find throwing lanes. It's one of the reasons why he's off to an unusually slow start.
4 for 12, 84 yards. Does have a touchdown and the interception. Will rifle this one to the sideline, tiptoeing out A.T. Perry. Came in with 42 receptions. And add another one, and that'll pick up 10. So a first down, they move the chains. Wake Forest looking for a long, sustained drive. Hartman with the handoff again in that mesh to Turner. Talking with Wake Forest offensive coordinator Warren Ruggiero, and you asked him why this offense isn't copied. He had a very interesting response. He said, we had some rough years here with WikiLeaks. Everybody knew everything we were doing. We no longer have visitors at practice because of that. Going to fire that one incomplete. He said we don't show our stuff at clinics to other coaches.
Yeah, and I think that, part of it has been there's been very little staff turnover. They've developed this offense. It's their own, which is really unique because, football is a copycat league. People copying things from every level of football, but this is their own, and they're not sharing it with other people, but it certainly works.
Hartman hit as he threw it and incomplete. Once again, good pressure. Tyler Baker-Williams, who's having a nice night. And he was coming. 6.5 minutes to go in the second.
Yeah, then, pressure again. It's Tyler Baker-Williams from the top of the screen. He's unblocked because they're bringing pressure from the other side that's going to occupy the back. And I think once again, Wake Forest is fortunate because I don't think that Sam Hartman knew that he was going to have an unblocked defender. I really don't think he knew, and they're fortunate that he's not there a second sooner where that ball can come out before he throws it.
Morrow with a long one here and a fair catch by Thomas. There is a flag down. Wake on top 14-6. Running into the kicker. So that's going to be 5 yards.
Running into the kicker, number 31, defense. Penalties decline. First down.
They needed 10, so get 5 back there.
That's the right call. I think sometimes on these running into the kicker, roughing the kicker, it's difficult, but Vi Jones, who's been a really good special teams player at times. Now he's got a starting role in the defense, and he is so athletic. We saw him first, in person.
Yeah.
Job he did containing Malik Cunningham, which was remarkable.
Out of USC. What a great story, too.
Oh, I mean, just, and really, was kind of buried in a deep linebacker room with Peyton Wilson and Isaiah Moore and Drake Thomas, but because of injuries, getting this opportunity, and it was a really highly touted recruit coming out of high school, number 4 ranked linebacker in his class, and played a little bit at USC, but had, his father played and his family was living in the North Carolina area, and ends up at NC State and has done a nice job.
There he's starting to drive from the 15-yard line and complete to Devin Carter, who could be an absolute monster on big plays, tied up by Greer, a 4-yard pickup. A guy that, contemplated being out of football for a while.
Yeah, which, is a shame, and goes to show you just kind of how to change the scenery and some coaches that believe in you and how that can change how, what your experience is in college football. And it's always good to see guys kind of respond and then have the success that we've seen.
2nd down 6. Knight with a carry, doubling back the other way, heading for the sideline. He's dragged down across the 30, and will pick up a first down. Greer with the stop, but that's an 11-yard rumble.
Yeah, it's a really good job of just winding this thing back, because he kind of ends up, running through contact early in this. See there, Miles Fox got a hand on him at the line of scrimmage. It's a good run.
A player injured, Trent Penix, and we'll be back in a moment.
Huddle Crew here, coming up on the PNC Bank halftime report. Halftime reaction to the good one behind us. A wild finish in Tallahassee, and we cover all the ACC scores from today. Back to you, Dave and Tim.
Victor, and thank you very much. NC State with the football. Trent Penix went out, re-aggravating a shoulder injury. He's being evaluated. First down and 10. Going to run the football, keeping it on the ground here. And they brought Lesane, the wide receiver, for the carry, and he went 6. To bring up second down and 4. 14-6 Wake.
Yeah, I think there's some confusion there with Lesane at the end of that. Dave Clawson seemed to think that there was a fumble. Some of the Wake players thought there was a fumble, and Lesane was fighting for the football afterwards.
And spotted at the 36 on second down. Leary rolling. And will rifle that one out of bounds. And again, took a seat, took a hit. Both quarterbacks have seen a lot of pressure. Ryan Smenda came up to say hello.
You're right about Smenda. He gets there. That's a big shot on Leary, and they even were moving the pocket. I tell you, I've been really impressed with both fronts on the defensive side for these teams. Just creating disruption in the run game, creating disruption in the passing game, getting after the quarterback, and Smenda with a big hit.
3rd and 4. And that one off the hands and incomplete. Intended for Tootle. Christopher Tootle can't make the play. The 6'4" freshman.
Travion Red, if he didn't get a piece of it, he certainly distracted Tootle. Getting that hand in there at the last second. Just a little stick route by Tootle, who they're really athletic player, good route runner, and Red just able to kind of trust it enough, undercut it, and distract Tootle enough to force him to drop.
So on 4th and 4. 4th punt of the night for Trenton Gill. One of the best in the business. Morin back. And a fair catch as he lurches forward on a 37-yard kick. Let's look back on what we have seen so far tonight.
Well, we thought we'd see strength versus strength, and A.T. Perry showed his strength with this initial touchdown, but Wake Forest defense hasn't been up to the task. What a good job of getting after Leary, stopping the run, and Wake Forest got another opportunity early in the second quarter with a big completion that led to the Ellison score, and then again it's been the Wake defense coming up with a turnover. So not exactly what we expected, but definitely good. Two good teams putting a pretty good fight out.
Ellison straight on. Engel with the stop. Hartman only 5 of 15. And it has been tough sledding for him tonight. Coming off 398 yards against North Carolina, his 5th straight 300-yard game. Set the school record for touchdown passes tonight. Looking long again, got it away, and a hit there, and it's going to be complete to Perry. First down on a gain of 34 yards.
Well, it's a great throw considering the pressure that Hartman was under, and then it's an awesome catch by A.T. Perry, who
ruling on the previous play of a completed catch is under further review.
You see the pressure that Hartman was under. Vi Jones get there, and then A.T. Perry just does a nice job. He's running the post. Ball's a little bit behind him, but you run your route, but when the ball's in the air, all bets are off. Go get the football, and A.T. Perry does that, and I think he comes down with this one.
I'm going to check to see if it was complete, if it was a legal catch. Under review. Look at that athleticism to go back and get it, and then the contact as he went down. I'm with you, that's a catch.
Well, I think so, but I was actually looking at that. First, you see the catch radius. I think this ball is moving. And I think it maybe hits the ground while it's moving right there. Initial glance, I thought that he had it, because I thought right there he pinned it to his body. Look at it here. I think it's loose. And then I think it's touching the football, it's touching the ground as he rolls over. I think they're going to call this an incomplete pass.
Let's check out this angle.
This is the look, I think. Right here, as he rolls to his right, I don't think he's controlling that football. And right there,
yes,
I think it hits the ground and it's moving, and that's an incomplete pass.
I think you're right. was a good angle, that last one. So under review, that's our best angle. Originally ruled complete on the field for 34 yards, but it is being looked at as we speak with 3:52.
You know, when I saw it live, you know, he just always, maybe it's just I've become accustomed to seeing these tough catches from these Wake Forest receivers. They're so big and long. They've got amazing catch radiuses, and you certainly saw that on display by Perry. And I think it was enough contact through the football to force it loose. And
yeah, Wake already knows it. They're already backing up.
After further review, the receiver did not have firm control of the ball when it touched the ground. Incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down at the 31-yard line.
I think it's a good call. Crowd doesn't like it, but another look on our best angle.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, Pitts kind of punches at the football. It's a nice play by Pitts to do that, and it's not controlled by Perry when it hits the ground, and the officials eventually got it right.
So brings up 3rd down and 7. Wake Forest on top here in the second quarter with 3:52 to go before halftime. 14-6. We'll see what Sam Hartman cooks up here. 6'1", 210-pounder. Native of North Carolina, back to throw, good protection. Throws that one low. And going to be caught by Roberson. Made a nice play on it for 12, and that'll move the chains.
It's a really good job by Sam Hartman. They check a play. There's an adjustment and a check by North Carolina State defensively. So Sam Hartman's got to go somewhere else with the football. Finds him a nice job.
Wants to go fast. It's Morin. He shucks one tackler. Made some extra yards. Finally Engel with the stop, but another 1st down and 22 yards.
And Morin's been a nice find playing outside. I think they envisioned him as a slot receiver, but when he's played outside the numbers, he's done a nice job, and it's good run after the catch by Morin.
Yeah, after getting through Battle.
Timeout, North Carolina State.
NC State looking to slow him down. We'll take a timeout. 14-6, and Wake Forest on the move. They look like they're in their best offensive groove of the night.
Yeah, and I think because the quarterback's in a rhythm, right? I mean, you said it earlier, Dave, 5 for 15, you know, and that's just really uncharacteristic of Sam Hartman. I mean, they're usually so efficient, and he's usually so accurate. So, you know, between the batted balls and missed throws, been able to find a completion. Good job off of the check, and then finding Morin outside. And you see, you know, last game was against North Carolina, was Sam Hartman's only game of the season under 50%. And, you know, prior to that, you know, so if you combine that with tonight, it's 45%. The first 8 games of the season, you know, completing around 65% of his passes. So, yeah, it's been a little bit different last week and then the start of tonight. And it's been a combination of things, not just missed throws, not just batted balls. Both of those things playing a factor.
1st and 10 for the Demon Deacons. Going to take a shot at this one for the end zone, and it's broken up, incomplete. He wanted Perry, came close, but Battle broke it up.
And I think Battle does an awesome job of reading the eyes and hands of Perry. Watch, he never looks back for the football. But when Perry looks up for the ball, that's when he knows to try to get that right arm in there. Listen, he looks like he's maybe got some hand fighting going on prior to the ball getting there with A.T. Perry's right arm, but it's pretty well done by Battle.
Hartman to throw again, short over the middle and almost intercepted, tipped it incomplete. That was off A.T. Perry. And oh so close to being picked off again.
I have to say, I said it earlier, the things that we're not used to seeing these teams do, drops, penalties, you know, it's hard to chalk it up to something other than it's a big game, and everyone knows it and has been talking about it being such a big game.
Yeah, definitely a very different feel in the air here in Winston-Salem. Not talking about the plummeting temperatures either. taking another shot down that sideline, but it's going to be incomplete. Once again, unleashing A.T. Perry, but Aiden White was with him to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, and to me, this is really bad by Sam Hartman. It's a blitz by NC State. They do a beautiful job of picking it up. And then you have one-on-one coverage with a 6'5" receiver against a 6-foot defensive back, and the ball's thrown way out of bounds. Like that's a wasted play, and it's something that they typically don't do. It's like you let your big receivers at least fight for the football. Those 50-50 balls are really 80-20 in your favor.
Skiba from 53 yards gets it up there. And it came back. It hit the post. It hit the bar. He was oh so close to drilling it. Skiba with a miss from 53.
I mean, there's the doink, the double doink, and then there's just like just doink right off the crossbar.
Inches.
I mean, they say a game of inches. I think Dave Clawson is wondering, like, what is going on right now? My quarterback is throwing the ball out of bounds, not giving receivers chance. My kicker is hitting the crossbar. He's had an amazing career kicking here at Wake Forest.
Yeah, he's on his way to becoming the most accurate kicker in NCAA history. Just his 2nd miss of the season. And lowering that helmet, Ricky Person. And Dave Doran taking a look, and yes on the miss.
I mean, the thrill of victory, agony of defeat type, you know, on the sidelines. Clawson can't believe it. Dave Doran is thrilled about it, and let's see if he can get his offense going.
2nd down 6, got time here. About 2.5 to go. He slings that pass incomplete, and it's going to be fumbled. Wake Forest looking for the end zone. Trevion Red down that sideline. Inside the 5. A fumble recovery, a huge turnover. Take a look.
Carter's fighting for extra yards. That ball's out.
Field is a completed catch, followed by a fumble. 1st down.
And the scoop up by Red. Terrific play by the senior out of Martinsville, Maryland.
Well, here's what's crazy. We talk about Wake Forest and their struggles defensively. They had 10 recovered fumbles coming into this game. I mean, Dave Doran even said to us, he's like, I don't know if they're just so good at punching the football that's why they maybe aren't tackling better, but that's the 11th fumble recovery this season. That's incredible, and it's against a team that doesn't fumble it, and now it's creating an amazing field position.
1st and goal at the 5, 2:11 to go before halftime. Wake trying to punch it in, trying to take advantage of a giant turnover. Hartman going to carry it to the end zone. Touchdown! Sam Hartman punches it in. The turnover, and immediately 6 points. And Wake Forest sitting pretty at 20-6 with 2:05 left in the half.
I mean, we didn't think it would be the defense that was going to spark Wake Forest, but it certainly has been. Sam Hartman looks a little hobbled, but he is certainly hanging in there tough and putting up a fight.
So Skiba, who just missed one from 53, on for the extra point. And right through there to make it 21-6. And turnovers playing a very active role in this one. Here's the fumble.
It certainly is. It's Roberts, just as he's tackling Carter, doing an excellent job of raking at the ball, which creates the opportunity for Red. And then, you know, here's Tanner Engel. Here's what's interesting is he ends up being, you know, stuck out there because he thinks he's defending the pass. You know, with that long mesh, he thinks that there's a chance Sam Hartman's going to pull it out and throw it, and I think Hartman was thinking of throwing it. And that holds Engel, who's a really aggressive player, in pass coverage, which creates the opportunity for Sam Hartman to just follow Turner the back and run the football. And
so responsible for 37 touchdowns. So many good quarterbacks in this league, but he is nudged ahead of Kenny Pickett for total quarterback touchdowns. Rushing for one here, his 9th rushing touchdown.
Yeah, and and I've said this all along, there's been great quarterback play in the ACC, not just this year, but in past years. Kenny Pickett, everyone's been talking about him as, a Heisman candidate, and rightfully so. Well, Sam Hartman's been right there with him.
Bam Knight finds an opening. He's across the 40, across midfield. Are they going to catch him? Finally, they push him out after a giant run back. And what an answer that is. That's 72 yards. Zion Keith saving a touchdown.
Just an amazing job of the return team as well. Look at the block on the right side of your screen to get Bam Knight going. And, the special teams, we've talked so much about how solid NC State has been all the way around. We've kind of left out the fact that they're special teams. We've talked about Trenton Gill, but the return game been really good also.
Whistle here and a timeout. So Wake will take one.
30-second timeout.
After a scintillating run on a kickoff return by Zonovan Bam Knight, 72 yards. Man, you talk about an answer.
Oh, a big time answer. And it started to feel like, all right, well, this is swinging on NC State a little bit here. You think about the drop by Rooks and then the fumble by Carter and, then the quick score. And then you get too far behind on this Wake, defense. Yeah, I just want you to look at the block that we end up getting here on this return. No more wedges, but there are some big collisions in kickoff return, and Bam Knight's going to get the credit for it, but that's a really good job of the return team of creating some running lanes for Bam Knight. But Dave, you're right about the answer, and they needed it, I think, because the offense has struggled. And, we showed this in the open. Look at the magnitude of this football game, in terms of the percentage of chances to win because of, what lies ahead and how big this game is in the Atlantic.
Well, I know it's not a championship game unto itself, but it's starting to feel like one. Leary wants to throw for the end zone. Some contact there. What a catch there in the corner, and a touchdown. Outstanding grab by Emezi. 28 yards and a touchdown. And in a blink of an eye, the Wolfpack are back in the end zone.
You're right. Blink of an eye. It's big time return, and Emezi, big strong receiver, catches the football, right foot in, left foot in. That's good in the pros. And I'll tell you right now, I mentioned it earlier, the matchup advantage that I believe is in the biggest favor for NC State is those receivers, Carter and Emezi, against the corners for Wake Forest.
Extra point is good. NC State ferocious. And this is some grab. Great throw, no doubt, but look at the grab by Emezi, who's made a few in his career.
He certainly has, and it's one of the reasons I was so critical of Hartman on the throw he threw out of bounds. When you get these big, strong, physical receivers, they don't have to look open. You just want to throw the ball at them, get it in their vicinity, and let them fight for the football.
So Devin Leary, who's been overlooked by many in the national media, just continues to have a standout season. He acts like he could care less. But another touchdown pass for Leary. I mean, came in to this weekend having thrown more touchdown passes in the ACC, in ACC games than any other quarterback. And it's a list of terrific quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think because there's been so much good quarterback play in the conference that, maybe it was because of the start, to the season that NC State had. Yeah, I mean, Leary wasn't getting the same type of love nationally that some of the other guys were. And look, maybe it was because of the preseason, expectations around someone like Sam Howell, but the two guys we're getting a chance to watch tonight have been every bit as good as pretty much anyone that you could see play on Saturdays this season.
And they are both finding their groove here at the tail end of the first half. 21-13. Hardman takes over again with that mesh. He's going to rifle this one and broken up at the 40-yard line. He wanted Roberson, who's been his top target, came in with 50 catches for the season, but incomplete.
And there's a lot of contact there because of that long mesh. I think it makes it hard for defenders who are driving on those inside slants that, to drive early. And, right up here, see, there's a lot of contact right there prior to the throw, and a little bit surprised there wasn't a call.
Keeping it on the ground with Ellison. Betty with the pop. Betty, a guy, the defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson, said he just makes plays. He's made plenty of them this evening. That gains 1, bringing up 3rd down and 9. Minute 20 to go.
A little surprised that Dave Doeren didn't take a timeout right there with 2 left, 3rd and long. And obviously, good understanding of the situation by Dave Clawson, because he's going to be willing to let it run out.
Timeout here, 1:01 to go.
Timeout. NC State.
NC State takes one there.
30-second timeout.
And the second timeout, 21-13.
1-0.
Wake Forest with the lead. We came on the air, as we have so many times this season, talking about 2 outstanding quarterbacks regardless of the matchup. And now both of those guys are living up to that hype.
Yeah, they're both really good. They're accurate. They're good decision makers. And I think what's interesting, and we've seen this with Leary, just because the game maybe doesn't start the way that you would expect, which has certainly been the case for Hartman, they're good enough to pull themselves out of it. And I can just tell you firsthand as a quarterback, when the game starts poorly and you feel like you're playing uphill, it's hard to kind of pull yourself out of that hole. And look, as you see, Sam Hartman's numbers, 7 for 22, obviously not, typical for him. He's good enough, and this offense is good enough to kind of get back on track. And we've seen Leary do that in games. I think we saw him have the quietest, 300-plus yard game with a couple of touchdowns a couple weeks ago.
Sure did. Been a hard-hitting, emotional game. We anticipated that in a game like this. Just over a minute to go before halftime. Hartman looking downfield. Here they come again, and they're going to drag him down. Daniel Joseph, the Penn State transfer. Going to lose 11 yards on the sack.
Well, Joseph, who had the penalty earlier, he ends up being, and here he is right here. That's actually Corey Durden. He ends up looping around. And really what North Carolina State has done an amazing job of is using Levi Jones to twist, getting him involved. And the different twists and stunts that North Carolina State has run has created opportunities for everybody else. We've seen it with Davin Vann. We've seen it with Corey Durden. Daniel Joseph benefited from it tonight. And, now North Carolina State feels like they've got all kinds of momentum. It's going to get the football back with around a minute left. And really, I had Dave Doeren taking a timeout earlier prior to that 3rd down, where he eventually took the timeout, probably would have an extra 30, 35 seconds.
So Moravec to punt. Goalpost at his back. And we'll launch this punt. And a fair catch. So some time to do something here. 56 seconds, 53-yard kick. And a 21-13 lead for Wake Forest. And you're right, you can feel the momentum jumping on the side of the Wolfpack here. A 72-yard kick return by Zonovan Van Knight. That'll do it. And then a great catch in the end zone by Emezi. And that has silenced the crowd here certainly for Wake at the moment. 56 seconds to go here in the first half. Leary with that strong arm, buying himself some time on the move across the 40, and steps out and picks up 12 on that scamper and a first down.
That's a big play by Leary. And typically, 2-minute drives that are successful are either aided by a quarterback run or a penalty, and there's a big quarterback run by Leary. I think they feel like he can run more, be a more effective runner. I think it was evidenced right there.
NC State has been really good stealing points at the end of the first half all season long. That one's going to be dumped off, and a completed pass racing out will be Ricky Person. And 42 seconds to go.
Well, and when you mentioned the momentum, and it certainly feels like it was all on Wake Forest's side after the fumble and score, but then the Bam Knight kickoff return, the ensuing Emezi play, for the touchdown, feels like it's flipped, and it feels like NC State's playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Brooks, after the completed pass, he steps out, 8-yard pickup there. Christopher Dunn, the kicker, has hit one from 65 in his career.
Yeah, and because NC State's done a good job, now obviously you need to pick up the first down here on third down, but assuming they can do that, they've left themselves enough time, where they don't have to just work the sideline even with no timeouts.
Third down 1. Larry wants to throw again, and complete. Another completed pass. He hits Devin Carter. Once again, moving those chains, 16 yards on that play.
It's a great job by Leary because they're working a corner flat combination, probably with the expectation of throwing the flat, but the corner opens up. Much bigger gain, also gets out of bounds, and then same thing holds true now. 33 seconds, even with no timeouts. You can't stop the clock, obviously, for them to spot the ball if you get a first down or getting out of bounds, but throwing the ball in the middle of the field is still an option.
Leary, the kid out of New Jersey, back to throw again. Throw to the end zone. Touchdown, NC State, as he hits Devin Carter, 21 yards. Boy, they are tough to stop at the end of a half.
That's a really impressive 2-minute drive with no timeouts because they were used on the defensive side. Devin Carter running a post route. It's basically, a pin combination, a post or a hook with an in. And, Leary does a good job because he's got some pressure coming from Nasir Greer on the left side of playing on time, getting the ball out accurately to Carter for the score.
Done for the point after, and he drills it. So this has become a 1-point game with 28 seconds to go. It's become the game we anticipated.
Well, it certainly has, and NC State is doing it in all phases because it started really with special teams when you thought maybe the game could get away from them. It was a Bam Knight kickoff return that led to the Emezi score. And then defensively stepping up, getting to Sam Hartman, obviously getting the ball back with enough time for Devin Leary to do some work and find Devin Carter for the score.
5 plays. And into the end zone again. And that was quick. And 28 seconds before the break. That's the game we anticipate, certainly the game we hoped for.
And if we mention that Devin Leary should be talked about with some of these other quarterbacks in the conference, wow.
Yes. Going to have a talk with my friends at the Davey O'Brien committee, the family, as Morin tries to run this back. He looks for an opening. He's off to the races across the 40 and dragged down as he got across the 50-yard line. And it was Trenton Gill, the punter, who stopped that.
Come on, Taylor Murray can't get caught by the kickoff guy, the punter.
And 44 yards.
It's a great return. Not enough speed to take it the distance, but certainly creates an opportunity with 2 timeouts left.
Well, he had an opportunity to maybe take it to the house.
That's a big play by Trenton Gill, who's had an amazing year kicking off and punting. Make that stop because we got a chance to keep Wake out of the end zone now, but certainly an opportunity for Wake with the ball past midfield.
And a flag down. Looked like Corey Durden moving up front. 19 seconds to go, 1-point game.
Prior to the snap, offside. Number 45 defense entering the neutral zone, causing an offensive player to react. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And it's kind of a shame that Devontae Gordon, jumped from Wake Forest perspective, because if he doesn't jump, then it's a free play that gets to continue, and for Hartman, and then at that point, you have free reign to be a little more aggressive with the football, throwing it downfield.
First down 5. Hartman short with a pass. And a crunching hit shy of the 30-yard line. It was Blake Whiteheart, a tight end, who took a pop there, but 13 yards on the game. And a first down, and Wake will take a timeout. So they are down to their last one with 12 seconds to go.
And I think for Wake Forest, it'd be interesting to see. They're kind of right on the cusp of Skiba's range. So, at that point, with a timeout, and just 12 seconds left, I think try to find something in the middle of the field and use another timeout to see if you can get one opportunity to throw the ball into the end zone to one of your big receivers. Probably not doing it from the 31. I think you're trying to pick up enough where you're closer to field goal range for Skiba. Take a shot into the end zone. Take the timeout if it's inbounds. Then take a shot into the end zone. If you don't get it, then you're in Skiba's range for him to kick a field goal to go into the half.
Career long 49, this season 46. He missed one from 53 off the crossbar just moments ago. First down and 10 for Hartman and Wake Forest, trying to get more points up there right before the half. In this giant game in the ACC. And on the ground again, it's Christian Turner. Running back position thinned out for Wake. Of course, with Kenneth Walker transferring to Michigan State, where he's become a star.
30-second timeout.
Neil Smith's injury last week. They do not expect that to be long term, but not playing tonight because of a lower leg injury. So Skiba coming out. This is the 53-yard miss, and doinking right off the crossbar.
I think that sequence there ends up being a really smart one by Dave Clawson. NC State lines up and they're playing two-man, hard coverage to throw the football against. And if that throw ends up being incomplete, then now you're in a situation where you're kind of forced to maybe run the very next play because you want to make sure you're not giving up the field goal. And so Dave Clawson says, hey, I'm not going to take that risk. We're going to run it, get into Skiba's range, and use the timeout.
This in his range, 45-yarder coming up. He has hit 90% in his career. He has a chance to be the all-time #1 percentage-wise in college football, and he is going to make sure this one is right through. And that's the end of the first half. Wake Forest with a field goal to make it 24-20. 24 points scored in the last 2:05 of the first half by these two teams.
I mean, you were wondering, does NC State have enough time to score with no timeouts? It's like, yeah, they do. And you know what else? Wake Forest had enough time as well.
Yes.
This, I think, is turning into maybe more of what we thought we might see offensively.
NC State is going to get the football to start the second half. And that was fun. And really looking forward to the second half for Devin Leary and NC State and Sam Hartman. Coach Clawson down on the field with Kelsey.
Coach, a wild final 2 minutes in that first half. Your defense started off really well, but the other team was able to find the end zone a couple times. What adjustments do you need to make in the second half?
Well, offensively, I think we're leaving a lot of plays out there. We just got to settle down and play. We had some drops. I think we missed some throws. And defensively, we played well. Just that kickoff return really let them get back into it.
You talked a lot this week about the focus on finishing games. What will you tell your team in the locker room about what you need to see?
Well, we knew this would be a 60-minute game, and they're a good team. So this thing will come down to the wire.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, in October, they won back-to-back games very close against Louisville and then Syracuse, which was in overtime in the Dome. We'll see how this one pans out in the end. That first half was a blast. Jordan Cornette and the guys coming up on the PNC Bank halftime report after these messages. We welcome you back to ACC Network Primetime Football, presented by Geico. You talk about a game that got revved up the last couple of minutes of the half as we take a look at our Zaxby's first half stats. Those last 2 minutes were just wild.
Makes you think, were they sleepwalking for the first 28 minutes? I mean, it was incredible, just an absolute kind of explosion, and it just kind of felt also that Wake Forest was ready to take the football game over, and then the tide turned. And, you know, the battle back from NC State was really impressive because it started with a kickoff return. Bam Knight got him going, and then Devin Leary with a great throw to Emezi, and the defense responding, getting the sack, getting the football back, and then it was Carter for the score. So, you know, for an offense that kind of was, you know, unable to get into the end zone, that kickoff return seemed to change everything.
Well, Bam Knight's going to try it again. He went 72 yards the last time. He's across the 30. Watch him go again. 40, 30, looking for the end zone. Tiptoeing. He is in for the touchdown. You've got to be kidding me. 100 yards. Bam is right. Goodness gracious. Tim, they let him get loose again.
They absolutely did, and now, you know, can we just continue that from the final 2:05?
Wow.
And it's the same kickoff return. You know, oftentimes you have a middle return, left return, you know, various returns. That was the same exact return. I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's 2 plays for him. 172 yards worth of returns. And that's in a matter of minutes, if not seconds for him. Incredible. And NC State catapults into the lead, 26-24.
I thought he may run out of gas at the end there. He obviously picked up some good blocks, but was able to just step through a tackle. And I always find it interesting when teams have their starting tailback as their kickoff returner, you know, because obviously there's a lot of responsibility on, you know, on your starting running back, but you're doing it for a reason. It's because the guy's special, and Bam Knight just showed why.
Done on for the point after. NC State shot out of a cannon. Bam Knight out of Bailey, North Carolina. Watch this again.
Well, it's a good kick into the end zone. You just see everybody kind of picking things up here. I mean, and when that happens, and then the effort down the field, what happens is you end up getting a 2-for-1. And then it's Bam Knight with enough speed, able to kind of just step through the Mustafa tackle at the end.
Man, did it open up for him again, and he was gone. Mustafa, only man who had a shot at the end, but no. 21 points in the last 2 minutes for the Wolfpack.
Which is just an absolute explosion. And you think about, did you say it was in kickoff return yards, 172 yards
for one guy.
I mean,
remarkable. So the Wolfpack to kick off, and that'll be a touchback. So we'll see if the Demon Deacons have an answer to that. to number 7, who has been absolutely spectacular 2 times tonight.
Can we look at him too? He's like barely breathing heavily. Like,
yeah.
I took the elevator up to and I was breathing heavy from taking the elevator.
That's kind of unfair.
Just smiling and like, yeah, no big deal.
Like a walk in the park on a Sunday afternoon,
100-something yards. Like, here we go.
Said I can do that again.
Typically, guys, are, got the oxygen tank going. Not Bam Knight.
Aptly named, nicknamed. Rifle and batted down, and that continues to happen tonight. Devin Van again got the hands up.
And it's the push that they're getting, defensively. There's Van at the bottom of the screen. I mentioned him earlier, just driving the right tackle back. It's Gordon, and then he's just able to get his arm up.
Tough play on the side, and incomplete. Is out of bounds. A.T. Perry.
Feels an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
Tariq Pitts made sure to come up and knock him. 3rd down and 10.
A little bit strange to see, Perry not have a little more awareness of where he was on the sideline, stepped out of bounds before that ball got there.
Sam Hartman on 3rd down. Broke the school record against North Carolina, responsible for 7 touchdowns, 5 of those passing. Needs another star turn in this one. Boy, that's a tough pass and a very good catch on the play. Made by Chapman, the tight end, for 11 as they move the chains.
That's good job of pass protection to get one of those twists up front from the North Carolina State front. Wake does a great job of picking up. Tight window throw. Good catch by Morin.
Center of the line, and Hartman will go down, tied up by Vi Jones. They expected him to be a very big factor in this game, and that's turning out to be true.
He's been really impressive, just the ability to make plays, and it's like Daniel Joseph once again.
Yeah, he's Daniel Joseph down. It's happened a couple of times in this game. We're going to have to take the break. 14:06 to go in the 3rd. Well, we'll give you a look at Daniel Joseph's injury as he walks away, the big 6'3", 265-pounder.
Here he is coming here, and he's kind of at the end of this. Kind of goes into the hip of Van, and looked like a shoulder was bothering him the way he was hanging his arm, but it's hard to tell what it was. 2nd and 7. Hartman zips the pass and complete to Perry, trying to break away but can't. A flag is down. Pitts will stop him, but Perry with the reception. A flag dropped. And plenty of those tonight. 13:52 to go in the 3rd. NC State with a spectacular 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Zonovan Bam Knight, has taken the lead.
Unnecessary roughness, number 10, defense. 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. 1st down.
It was on a free safety, Tanner Engel, who's going to plead his case.
And it's interesting, targeting issues were kind of a thing for him early in his career. I think he's adjusted the way he's played, but he hasn't been less aggressive. And so I think it's helped him stay on the field, and it's really helped this defense because he's such a good tackler, as we've certainly seen tonight.
Moves it up to the 35 of the Wolfpack. On 1st down 10, Hartman fakes the throw. Ellison, and can't break free. He'll pick up 1 officially.
So here's Tanner Engel here. This is the last play, and that's just basically a collision with Taylor Morin. I mean, it's almost like they accidentally ran into each other, not looking at each other.
Seemed like an unfair penalty, and that one is going to be incomplete. A.T. Perry, the intended receiver, never got to him.
3rd down.
And brings up 3rd down.
Listen, Sam Hartman, I think, is kind of like, hey, I'm expecting you to run in there full speed. Seemed like A.T. Perry throttled down a little bit, and that's why they weren't able to connect.
He's just 10 of 28. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 3rd down, 4 for 8. It has 3rd and 9 here. Dropping back. Throwing long. Wants Perry over the shoulder, but can't make the play. And the coverage by Pitts again.
Well, it's zero blitz, and it gets picked up as well as you can pick it up. And Sam Hartman does exactly what he should do, which is give Perry a chance to make a play on the ball. And that's just strange. He's usually so great at finding, adjusting, and tracking the football.
On 4th and 9, they're going to go for it here.
I think they're kind of in no man's land here. You're not going to punt right here, I don't think, out of field goal range.
Hartman drops again. Another heave. His receiver wins it. Stewart with the catch. And a 1st down. 1st and goal. That goes for 31.
It's an awesome job of Sam Hartman seeing it. It's a corner blitz, which creates an opportunity down the field. It's really impressive.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
And Terrell Dawkins, the defensive end, gripping his foot. We've got to take the break. 12:50 to go in the 3rd. Dawkins walking off, but what a huge moment for Wake moments ago. Tim, on 4th and 9.
Yeah, it's 4th and 9, and the corner blitz is telegraphed. Here comes the corner blitz, but with where Aiden White is lined up, that gives away that you're running a corner pressure. And then it's Stewart just running a go route versus man-to-man coverage with no help because of that corner blitz and the other pressure. And then Hartman does what you need to do, which is just put it into the vicinity of these big receivers. The 6'4" Stewart got to slow down a bit, but is able to just go up and get the football. As you said, huge conversion on 4th and 9.
So 1st and goal for the Demon Deacons. Trying to get right back on the scoreboard and retake the lead here against NC State in this giant game in the Atlantic. And a handoff, and getting inside the 5-yard line is Ellison. He'll pick up 4.
And Sam Hartman just sacrificing his body as well, because after he hands this football off, he's trying to shield the backside defender from running the play down from behind.
Yep.
Look, that's a quarterback block, Dave. I'm counting that as a quarterback block.
Oh, you're very proud of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the pickup. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Good job, Hartman.
2nd and goal. And out of a Wildcat, Ellison. And a man in motion, Stewart. Ellison's going to take it. And nothing doing there as he tried to duck inside. Stopped by Drake Thomas. You saw that coming. That gains only 1 yard. Actually loses a yard.
You know, and that Wildcat look has typically been reserved for Christian Beal-Smith, who, you know, as we said earlier, is out of this contest after the injury last week. And you know, we've seen, you know, NC State be a team that's hard to run the football against, certainly hard to run into the end zone against. And I think Wake Forest probably going to have to find a way through the air.
Beal-Smith missing because of a lower leg injury. Here's Hartman, plenty of time, now rolling to the end zone. And got it in there for a touchdown. He got Chapman, his tight end. A 5-yard touchdown pass.
It's a great catch by Brandon Chapman. You know, the tight ends aren't used a whole lot. Brandon Chapman just 4 catches on the season and comes up with a huge one here as Sam Hartman kind of gets stuck holding the football, doesn't know where to go, escapes to his right, and Chapman does a good job of going down for the ball.
Brandon Chapman, his first touchdown reception of the season. And the Demon Deacons back in front. Dick Skiba with the extra point. So that makes it 31-27, 11:07 left in the 3rd.
Yeah, Sam Hartman's going to start looking to his left, but it's Chapman who's just going to end up leaking out and then working for his quarterback. You look at Hartman's eyes. He's looking left, doesn't like it. And as he comes back to the right, Chapman just says, hey, I see my quarterback in trouble. I'm going to work with him. And Hartman's able to kind of find a throwing lane because Levi Jones, I thought, had a chance to get his hand on the ball, and good adjustment by Chapman.
12 plays, 75 yards. Beal Smith relegated to cheerleader, but happy about this. And multiple touchdown passes in 8 consecutive games now for Sam Hartman. That is the school record. He has set many.
And he's, there's a lot of credit given to this offense, and rightfully so, from the standpoint of their scheme. It's creative, it's new, no one else is doing it. It's hard to stop, but you need guys that can deliver in this offense. And they obviously recruit and develop great receivers, but they've gotten quarterbacks to play really well in this system, to make good decisions and make accurate throws. And Hartman's done that.
They're going to go short. They want no part of Van Knight as he was standing on the goal line. He's always dangerous, and tonight he has been incredible. So a short kick to stay away from number 7, who's done so much damage this evening. One run back, 100 yards for a touchdown, another 72 yards.
Yes, unfortunately for Wake Forest, it's one kick too late, in terms of making that decision. But I would expect that's what we see for the rest of the night on Wake Forest kickoffs.
So first down 10 for the Wolfpack at the 25-yard line. Trailing 31-27. Leary really got hot at the tail end of the first half. He'll zip this one to Emezi, but nothing doing there. Taylor came up and dropped him for a loss.
They ran this play earlier. It's a wide receiver screen where they get Ike Ekwonu out on the edge to try to block the corner. Jasir Taylor has seen it before. He said, listen, I'm not going to let a 320-pound left tackle come out and get me. I'm going to go attack this. Makes a nice tackle.
Second and long for Leary. Wants to throw again and again. Emezi on the near side. Taylor there again, and that'll go for 7. A bit of a shove, but not a big time shove. Third down and 4.
Timeout, Wake Forest.
Wake Forest will take a timeout. Their first of the second half. Dave Clawson taking one here. 10:04 left in the third. We welcome you back to the ACC Network Football presented by Geico, our primetime evening here in Winston-Salem. And Dave Clawson, pretty heated moments ago.
He's been a little animated in this game, more so than we've seen him in the past. But I think he knows, to use a timeout on a substitution issue defensively, this point in a game that's probably going to go down to the wire, could really come back to haunt you.
Feels like it. Rooks in motion. Leary, and incomplete off Rooks' hands. Porter Rooks could not make the play. Covered by Evan Slocum, the free safety.
That's good tight coverage by Slocum. Trying to get a little bit of a pick or a rub. And Slocum does a nice job of kind of being patient, fighting through it. And because of the tight coverage, the ball is a little high and away for Porter Rooks.
So Gill on to punt. His 20 punts inside the 20 over the last 4 games. Been a real weapon all season long for the Wolfpack. Warren backing up around the 20 and a fair catch at the 19. That's a 50-yard punt. Now next week we travel back to the great city of Boston, Massachusetts. It's Florida State taking on BC, and my partner, I am delighted to say, will be inducted into the Boston College Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Tim Hasselbeck, and great honor to you.
Well, thank you for that. I had a feeling when you said, hey, where we're going to be next week, that you guys had some type of prank, set up for me.
Well, that's next week, definitely.
Yeah,
we'll have
sure.
something. Yeah.
No, it's very cool. I'm excited. Obviously Huge win for Florida State today. Excited to see them and Boston College new life with Phil Dracovic back at quarterback. So I'm excited to be there for that weekend.
Yeah, remember what a star he is at quarterback. Hit another one in the ACC. Incomplete on the sideline, intended for Perry. Couldn't make the play. A weird night for Sam Hartman.
Dave, I think so as well. I mean, those are throws. You don't even see it with the look on his face. I mean, look at these numbers, 12 of 32. I mean, he's just usually so accurate. And Dave Clawson talking about missing throws when he was going into halftime. That's certainly been the case.
Well, another one that can't be handled here. And again, it was Perry he tried to hit, but incomplete.
And I don't think he ever has this, but we should look at it again. Just a little spot route. He's going to sit down. Good accurate throw on this one, and see him just turn his head so soon, and no, he never possesses that football.
Boy, Perry has been targeted 19 times. He does have a touchdown. He lines up wide left on 3rd and 10.
That's crazy for a guy that's been as productive as he's been.
Flushed out of there. Hartman on the move again. Will fling this one. He got it off, and it's Perry again. And complete. Finally tied up by Battle. It's like 9 yards. And brings up 4th and 1.
Yeah, I thought that it's almost like because he had the drop, he didn't trust it, and he goes down to the ground with this one. I thought there was a chance he was going to be able to stay up.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
Another injured player down for NC State. 9:15 to go here in the 3rd. This has happened frequently tonight. And that is Corey Durden who's down. Corey, the graduate out of Newberry, Florida. FSU transfer, also proud father of a 2-year-old son, Jackson. And on his back at the moment. And good to see him on his feet, but a little bit hobbled. Wake Forest in front 31-27 in this huge game in the Atlantic.
You know, just to go back to Perry, he's not been targeted 20 times, and he's got 4 receptions. And, you know, for a guy, you know, coming into the season that already had 42 catches and 10 touchdowns, just kind of surprising to see the lack of, you know, his ability to track the football, catch it, and Sam Hartman's ability to get it to him at times. That is not something that I think that we could have forecasted, Dave, when you just, you know, saw them play this season.
Great guest list for the Mannings tonight.
You've reached Peyton and Eli. Leave a message.
It's Pacino, and I want to be in the show. Foot by foot, we're going to measure Peyton's head.
Watch Peyton and Eli. You never know who will drop by.
Well, look at this. I mean, we've got pulling out all the old photos of me. You know, the Manning cast's been a lot of fun, Dave. I don't know how much you've gotten a chance to catch it, but I think you've seen the personality of both Eli and Peyton. And I think the funny thing is that not everyone knew Peyton was people knew Peyton was a jokester. Maybe they didn't know Eli was kind of as funny and as much of a jokester as he is.
That's the thing that's popped for me. What a great sense of humor he has.
Yeah, he's been excellent. Both of them.
It makes sense. On the run outside, it's Person trying to find that corner and chased out by Mustafa, but a 16-yard gain for Ricky Person. Yeah, I think they've both been hilarious. It's been gold for broadcasting.
Yeah, Eli was always notorious for like pretty good pranks on guys. You know, like put the blue dye in guys like shoes and gloves, so they take them off, and next thing you know, they look like Smurfs. I mean, he was always up to something.
1st down 10, and he's hit. Football is loose. He got stripped, and down on the deck, NC State jumping on top. Looked like Yashin Davis was able to strip it. And They're going to lose 7 on that play.
The offense. Officials timeout for an injured player.
Another injured player down. Take a look.
Yeah, and they're trying to work a double move. That's why you see that little shoulder shrug by Leary. And NC State fortunate to come up with that football because it's just kind of laying on the ground there as after it came loose from Leary.
Sir Greer, who's really been in and out of that lineup, but such a key man for Wake Forest on the defensive side.
He's made a few plays tonight, and he's been on a pitch count, snap count, if you will, and pitchers to see if they can get him back. 2nd and
18. Floating one out for Houston, who just came into the game in a running back spot. And knocked out by Luke Masterson. They'll get 10 back on that short pass play.
And Houston, different skill set than the other backs that we see for NC State, but really good in the passing game, has a ton of speed, and you see they try to get him on the perimeter and leave him in again on this 3rd and long.
On 3rd down, Leary 1 for 7. 3rd and 9, Thomas on the move. Leary in the pocket, rifles this one, and it's going to be intercepted. Picked up by Nick Anderson.
Really on the field, it's an interception. 1st down.
Anderson, who had 4 picks as a freshman last year, with a diving interception here.
That's a great play by the former walk-on. Thomas is just running a seam. He actually turns Anderson around, but the ball shouldn't be thrown there. And I'm not sure the type of throw. I mean, it's almost like Thomas is going to look towards the corner. Leary was almost throwing a seam that he thought was going to sit down. Now this NC State offense that have been so good at protecting the football, you see it had 3 turnovers just tonight.
So Hartman taking over the football on 1st and 10 with a lead of 31-27. Has time to throw, throwing deep, and that's going to be picked off. So they trade interceptions. Intercepted by the Wolfpack and Tyler Baker Williams. Boy, this is a crazy game. 2 quarterbacks who have been tremendous taking care of the football this year.
So here's what happens. He's got a post to the left, and after the mesh, he's looking for that. When the safety rotates over the top, he's looking for Marin here. What happens is Marin wins. The ball just isn't thrown far enough. Safety vacates the middle of the field, and Hartman just doesn't get it out there enough for Marin, which allows for it to be undercut by Tyler Baker Williams.
And getting the dog bone after that pick.
That's the 2nd time it's turnover, bang, another turnover right behind it.
So both quarterbacks have been intercepted 2 times tonight. Leary's going to keep on throwing, and complete pass. That one to Lassane, who's been kind of a favorite target in this game. The flag is down. 7:04 to go in the 3rd.
Ineligible player downfield, number 54, offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Dylan McMahon, a left guard.
And when teams run these RPOs and the ball takes a little bit of time to get out, honestly, I'm shocked that this is not a penalty that's called more.
So it backs up the Pack. 1st down and 15. Ball spotted at the 40, at the 26-yard line. And Leary wants to get it in the air again. And throwing short this time. It is Bam Knight, but he cannot get free of Luke Masterson, who drags him down. Will lose a yard.
Luke Masterson's an interesting player. He's been all over this Wake Forest defense. That's a bad sign for NC State as Bam Knight hobbled leaving the field.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
He has been a superstar tonight on kickoff returns, but he's in agony right now.
You know, he hobbled off earlier prior to that his first kickoff return. And
well, this obviously a giant story for the Wolfpack, as important as he has been in this game, and they've stopped kicking it to him very wisely. We'll see if he can continue. 6:15 to go, third quarter.
You know, it looked like he was going to get off the field, and you know, oftentimes when players are told, you see this kind of continued. You know, forward progress was stopped, the whistle was blown, and it almost just seems like as they were going to the ground, something happened to him. But towards the end of that, look, and he looks more hobbled than I think I, was anticipating him to see. But that looks like an injured player right there. That would be a huge loss when you look at the all-purpose yards so far tonight. And really, he's just their best overall back. Now, the good thing for NC State is that Ricky Person is more than just a reliable backup, very capable runner in his own right.
We'll get you an update on Bam Knight as soon as we can. Second down, 16 for the Wolfpack. Leary trying to make some magic. Long pass and a tough catch right there on the near side by Emezi. Well, he is so tough to cover. Taylor tried to. That goes for 27.
And again, this is the matchup. The strength of these NC State receivers going up. Moment of truth against these Wake Forest cornerbacks. And it's a great play by Emezi. And it was awesome by Leary standing in the pocket, taking a hit.
Person breaking free. Finally dragged down after a lengthy romp there by Mustafa, but he'll gain 11 and a first down. So Ricky Person taking over and now walking off, and Houston will become the running back for the Pack.
You know, it speaks to the depth of the NC State running back room that you can go Bam Knight, Ricky Person, and then Jordan Houston come in the game.
First and 10, NC State on the move. Five minutes left in the quarter. Leary, good time. Emezi again. Trying to make a move on the sideline. Out he goes. Strong safety Anderson gets credit for stopping him. The seventh catch by Emezi.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, Dave, that Keon Lassane kind of been a featured guy a little bit tonight, and we've seen balls go to Porter Rooks on critical downs. To me, I'm finding, if I'm a quarterback, I'm finding 86 anytime I can. So reliable, so strong, so good after the catch.
Yes, and the all-time receptions king at NC State. Little razzle-dazzle here. And looking for the outside, and a slide there out of bounds by Lassane. Will pick up 5.
I think the other thing that can open up a little bit for NC State offensively, especially with Houston, in the backfield as he comes off now, but some of the perimeter runs that we've seen from NC State. So,
Deion Bergen, he's the injured man. Seen this a lot tonight. Second down and 5, 4:02 left in the quarter.
I think part of that, you're right, we have seen a lot of this tonight, and I think part of it is it's been a pretty physical football game. Both quarterbacks have been knocked around quite a bit. And we've talked about the magnitude of this football game, what winning it does for your chances to play in the ACC championship game and bring home a title. And I think we're seeing both of these football teams lay it all out on the line tonight.
Winner of this one, we showed you those numbers earlier, with a giant upper hand to be playing in that ACC championship game. But a long way to go yet. Under 4 minutes to go in the third. Leary facing 2nd down and 5. As Ricky Person in the backfield. He'll take the handoff looking for the hole, but that closes pretty quickly. And they string him out. He's going to lose a yard on that carry. With the tackle by Smenda.
You see the physical nature. I mean, look, NC State is a physical football team.
Got an official's timeout for an injured player. Number 12 must leave the game for 1 play.
And he doesn't want to leave. I mean, I think this is kind of indicative of what we were seeing. And look, Bam Knight saying, I might be okay, but he looks better walking around than he did earlier.
Yeah, good to see him out of the tent, though. And at the moment, Jordan Houston taking the carries. Leary facing 3rd down and 6 on the 16-yard line of Wake Forest. He wants to throw, looking for the end zone, and incomplete. Rooks was open for a moment, chased by Nick Anderson, the strong safety.
Yeah, and he's trying to throw a corner route to Rooks because it's zero coverage, so you're getting inside leverage, and he's got an out-breaking route, and they kind of run out of room a little bit. You know, there just wasn't a ton of space over there, and I think that's one of the reasons Leary missed him. I would have liked to see him take the fade up top to his right to Devin Carter, who also had man coverage with inside leverage.
Well, here's Christopher Dunn from 33, and that is no good. He can't make it. His first miss of the game after 2 makes. And it remains 31-27 Wake Forest.
And that's a huge stand for Wake defensively. The hold was good, and snap was a little into the body of Gill, but able to get it down, and I think you're right. I think it was just hooked. I think Dave Dorn feels like that North Carolina State fan right now.
Well, Dunn usually very reliable. He is NC State's all-time leading scorer. So a drive of 8 plays, 53 yards, but nets 0 points. 2:53 to go in the quarter. Let's get down to Kelsey Riggs.
Well, guys, earlier you saw Bam Knight go into the tent and then come back out, so we'll see how he is and what he's able to do. But his partner, Ricky Person, has actually been sick. He stayed in a little while at the half, and you see him on the sidelines right now. He's sitting on the sidelines getting some oxygen, breathing heavy, so trying to battle through this for his team.
Boy, there are a lot of stories in this one and developing as we move along. On the ground and carried by Turner. As he'll pick up 3 yards on that play. And Engel is heading out. Tanner Engel has been knocked around tonight. Everybody has. Hartman guns that one and complete to Taylor Morin. That's a first down. 8-yard pickup for the Demon Deacons.
Morin just does such a nice job of coming back to the football. Hartman afforded some time in the pocket. Just the ability to have guys come back to the ball. Such a good feeling for a quarterback.
Previous plays under further review to review for a possible targeting foul.
Possible targeting on that last play, so under review as they take a look late in the third.
Like Shaheen Battle. That's. I think I've kind of said my piece on these targeting penalties and how hard it is for defensive backs. We have a runner. We don't have a defenseless player, but we certainly have crown of the helmet. And crown of the helmet targeting calls are to protect the tackler as much as they are, if not more, than protecting the ball carrier. And so, if Battle gets called for targeting on this, it really is in an effort to protect Battle from injuring himself.
So I don't know how that, by the letter of the rule, is not targeted. That's got to be targeted.
It's ground in the helmet. I mean, and that's, you know, it's one of these things that it's
After
hard.
further review, there was a foul for targeting with the crown of the helmet. Number 25, defense. He is disqualified from the game. 15-yard penalty and an automatic. First down.
When NC State now is really thin, you know, at corner in terms of, you know, guys that they want in there playing in battle, I think it's just so hard. You see guys get removed from games when they're playing hard, and we need to get guys to change the way they tackle and hit.
Understand your argument on that. By the letter of the rule, it's certainly targeting.
Yes.
And a 10th penalty for NC State, so those are piling up. Wake Forest had some early. Hartman flushed out of the pocket. Wants to run it. A flag down again as he got ahead to the 50-yard line. Flag dropped with a minute 53 to go, maybe holding.
Number
it is.
59, offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
August Anaya with the hold.
And it was clear as Hartman, you know, got stuck with the ball. He was looking for Morin down the middle of the field when he came off of it. So here we go, 59. As Hartman escapes and the defender's trying to pull away from him, you just see that. Just grabs the jersey, kind of grabs him twice. Definitely got his money's worth on that hold. And oftentimes it's a quarterback scramble where now the offensive line doesn't know where he's going to be and they end up grabbing.
So backs him up, 1st and 20. On the toss and complete. Wake on the move again. A dart to Banks. And Banks picks up a first down, a 23-yard gain.
I mean, Wake Forest just keeps rolling in 6'4" receivers. Here's Banks coming back to the football. On a well-thrown ball by Sam Hartman, and it's a nice job. Good timing, good anticipation, and his accuracy.
It has been a tough night for that young man, Daniel Joseph, 6'3", 265-pound graduate out of Toronto. Been down often. 1 minute 23 to go in the third. You can catch a women's college basketball doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. Starts at noon inside the great Carrier Dome. Neil Ivey and Notre Dame taking on Syracuse. And then number 5, North Carolina State hosting Florida right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Great to have college basketball back. Of course, Duke and Kentucky with a terrific game inside Madison Square Garden, really launching the season. 31-27 Wake Forest. A first down here for the Demon Deacons, trying to do something before the end of the third. Hartman, who's had a choppy night, unleashes that one, and it's incomplete. Off Banks. He wanted him again, but not this time.
And it's the same thing that we saw earlier on the play to Stewart on 4th down. It's a corner blitz, and now it's just, you know, throwing the out cut, and Banks not able to reel that one in.
Hartman 15 out of 38, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And off to the sideline, but it's going to be juggled and it's incomplete. It was Banks again, but no catch.
Third down.
And brings up third down. Could not make the play.
The official, you know, stating that he was juggling it, which means didn't have possession. His foot in bounds, and now, you know, another 3rd and long, kind of in no man's land a little bit here. If you're able to get a little bit of a chunk, so I could see this being 2-down territory if they can get to the 35.
Hartman trying to get back into a groove. Time in the pocket, throwing long, and flags down on the play. A lot of contact there. Banks, the intended receiver, up against Chris Ingram.
Prior to the pass, holding. Number 26, defense, 10-yard penalty, and an automatic. First down.
That's on the linebacker, Betty.
Yeah, I think that there was some frustration because Dave Doeren and the rest of the North Carolina State sideline felt like Ingram had done a nice job, but it was the tight end running down the middle of the field that was the one getting held by Betty.
That's the 6th first down because of a penalty. Unable to break free on that rush by Turner, and a stop by Drake Thomas. Came in with 74 tackles to lead NC State, really having a big year after the losses of Isaiah Moore and Peyton Wilson. And Perry now back in the game. A.T. Perry, who's been the #1 target. Look at that, 20 of them in this game. That's incredible.
It's the most in 5 years in the FBS.
Looking for the end zone and broken up, and it's actually going to be picked off. Tariq Pitts in the end zone, able to hang on after the tip.
Touchback. First down, NC State.
NC State with the football. Morin the intended receiver, but Pitts was there.
Tanner Engel makes a great play on this football. When Morin goes up to catch it, look at that punch through with his right hands, and then Pitts able to just secure it.
Of an interception in the end
with
zone.
his left hand, and I think that's possession. They'll obviously look at it, but I think he's got possession. Watch Engel. He's an aggressive player that likes to play downhill. They get behind him, but he doesn't panic. Trusts it, reads the eyes of the receiver, punches through the football, and to me that looks like control by Pitts right there. I think he's got control there, right foot down. I think this should stand.
Tell you what, Tanner Engel is some player. They call him the Tasmanian Devil, the human missile, whatever, breaking this up. And you always have to have an eye out for him.
You do, and oftentimes his aggressiveness gets used against him, where they try to.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
They try to get him to come up and run support and try to get him in pass coverage. Well, rose to the occasion there, and it's a good call on the field by the officials and a great play by Pitts.
By both of those guys. Pitts tiptoeing, and the call stands. 11 seconds to go in the third. Leary throwing deep down the center of the field, and incomplete. Wanted Emezi there, and 4 seconds to go.
Yeah, Malik Mustafa, I think, anticipated Leary throwing that ball much further. If he's able to just turn around and locate the football, I think he ends up having an easy interception because Leary kind of drastically underthrew Emezi on that post.
Sam Hartman, by the way, came into the game with 5 interceptions. He's been picked off 3 times tonight. Second down 10. And complete to Riley, C.J. Riley, to end the third quarter. And the Wolfpack with the football.
That's the end of the third
That
quarter.
goes for 11. Wake Forest still on top as we begin the fourth in a moment. 31-27 in this giant game in the ACC.
Again, home of the college football postseason. Welcome home.
Back at Truist Field here at Winston-Salem, North Carolina. A game summary: NC State 281 passing yards, 2 picks. Wake with 3 turnovers. They had 9 in the previous 9 games. And more flags are down to stop the play here as we get the fourth quarter underway. Wake up 31-27.
Prior to the snap, full start, number 54, offense, 5-yard penalty.
So plenty
First
of those tonight, plenty of players down because of injuries, and more interceptions than you would have guessed with these 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, and the 12 penalties for 104 yards for NC State. That's why Dave Doeren has that look on his face. Both of these coaches do such a good job with their football teams. They're disciplined, they're smart. It's that's a bad number for NC State.
Larry dumps it off short to Bam Knight. He's had a pair of incredible kickoff returns, one for 100 yards and a touchdown. Then he got knocked around a little bit, had to go inside the 10. Out and healthy again, it appears. He picks up 7.
NC State likes that little angle screen. They do it with a number of different guys. Kind of get the defense to overrun it and hit it back. That's a pretty good pickup on first down.
2nd and 8. It's Bam Knight again. They string him out. Trevion Red, who's had a huge play in this game, with the tackle. And just a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, that's a good job by Roberts. J.J. Roberts kind of stringing it out as Bam Knight leaves the field again.
Spoke too soon about his good health.
I mean, I think it's been the story for nearly every player tonight. I think between Bam Knight and Daniel Joseph, it's going to be a busy week in the training room.
3rd and 6 for Leary. Looking to go airborne again. He fires that one, and the pass is broken up on the near side by Wake Forest, and a stop by Taylor. And there's another flag down in the backfield.
Holding, number 8, offense. Penalties decline, 4th down.
So they decline it, bring it up 4th down. And bring on the punting unit. Wake Forest to get the football back and on top here early in the 4th quarter, 31-27. Gill with 5 punts, averaging about 45 yards. Leads the ACC in punting average at a little over 46. Warren standing back at the 21. Racing to the side, cuts a corner, gets to the 40, across the 50-yard line. A big chunk for the Demon Deacons by Taylor Morin.
That's a huge return. In that situation, I thought there was a chance that he'll kind of really get it back there and pin him down. And Morin does a nice job of making the first couple guys miss. It's a great job by Blake Whitehart of kind of just using his body to shield rather than a kind of a crackback type block, and Morin does the rest.
Yeah, 35-yard romp. So Hartman back with the football. It's been a very up and down night for him. Trying to make it end on a glorious note. On the run, it's Ellison. Let's get down to Kelsey.
Well, guys, I got to talk with Taylor Morin this week just about this team and the closeness that they have. He said he's had a blast being a part of this group. It's nothing that he's ever been a part of before. And he's like, look, I know people say that, but I really genuinely mean it. The camaraderie is something that I've just never experienced, and it really starts with their leaders.
Pass complete, breaking free. Perry got some extra yards after the catch. He'll pick up 19 yards before Ingram finally stopped him.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
And another injured player down. Tyler Baker-Williams. He is down for NC State. We've got to take the break. Not everybody's going to make it all the way through this vital game in the ACC tonight. Some slumbering there on the berm, but 31-27. Everybody else trying to get close to those heaters. It's 39 degrees as of this moment here in Winston-Salem.
Feels it.
Sure does. Hartman stepping up and crashing into that line. Wake Forest with the advantage. He's going to gain 6 there, but hard-earned.
I think there's been a few times tonight where Hartman pulls the ball out of that mesh, is really expecting to throw the football, and then when he doesn't like the look or gets pressure, he just follows the back and been effective running it that way.
Wants to hang on to it again, takes a crunching hit. Takes some punishment tonight. This one laid out by Devin Van after a 1-yard gain.
He really has, but he kind of hops up. He almost got that Andrew Luck style. I think he gets back up and is like, hey, really good hit, man. Like, nice hit. Like, it's almost like he's congratulating Tanner Engel for tattooing him.
Does pay the compliment. Thrown for a couple of touchdowns. He's been intercepted 3 times. Looking toward that end zone again. And a very tough catch there by the tight end, Brandon Chapman. He's going to pick up a first down. A 7-yard grab. That had some hair on it.
It's the 3rd time we've seen Hartman on this drive get to the 3rd progression. Look at him looking to his left. He goes from 1 to 2 on the left side. Comes back across the field to the 3rd guy in the progression and makes a great throw.
1st and goal. Trying to follow a blocker. Looking to bounce outside, but he stumbled. Close to the 5-yard line. 2nd down and goal.
And that's another example of Hartman expecting to throw the ball, I think, and then taking off and running. And he looks hobbled to me. And I kind of saw him hobbling earlier in the game. And
well, he joins the crowd, right? Because everyone else has been hit hard tonight in that kind of game. 2nd and goal. Trying to get Wake into the end zone again. A handoff here for Ellison into the pile, straight ahead. 1-yard pickup.
You almost wonder if that call was made as Dave Clawson is looking at number 10 out there, just kind of really struggling to get back, behind center, and saying, all right, let me give him a break to kind of catch his composure here before 3rd down when I either ask him to run it or make a great throw.
On the 5-yard line. 3rd and goal for the Demon Deacons. Hartman throws short, and they're going to get into the end zone again. Touchdown, Ellison. He's in from 4 yards out. Touchdown, Wake Forest. Justice Ellison.
Well, Wake Forest, they say they're not really a game plan offense, but here's what happens. You're going to have this motion that came over here and comes back. When that happens, it causes confusion in the secondary for NC State. And so now you have Ellison, who's essentially unblocked. Thomas tried to get there, but he's coming from way too far to cover the back, who's on the right side of the quarterback.
And the extra point by Skiba is good. Wake Forest with some breathing room.
Breathing room because it's a great design, and Sam Hartman able to deliver to Ellison for the Demon Deacons.
ACC Network College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance.
Members of the United States military from around the world proudly displaying their loyalty to both NC State and Wake Forest. Pre-game ceremonies just awesome. Some parachute magic with the flag and sticking the landing.
Really cool to see, and Veterans Day earlier this week, and I know you're proud of your son who's a veteran.
My son Mike, yep, 82nd Airborne. He did a lot of that. Short kick, keeping it away from Van Knight, trying to. And then here's a pretty good hit. Jordan Houston, and a return of 15. And again, a flag down. Far too many of those here in the 2nd half. We're into the 4th quarter, 38-27 Wake Forest.
Personal foul, targeting, kicking team. Plays under further review.
So another targeting possibility. It's under review.
Dave, these special teams, we've seen them be an issue in the past for Wake Forest, and that is going to be Ryan Smenda. And on a special teams play, if they lose him, which they may, that'll be a really tough loss for Wake Forest.
to targeting on Ryan Smenda, the talented linebacker. Take a look. And they are calling that crown of the helmet. That is targeting. He is disqualified. Smenda also had a targeting call against Army. So NC State with the football and complete on the side to Emezi to move the chains in an 11-yard gain.
Yeah, and just to kind of finish up on the targeting, you know, Smenda, it's a special teams play, but he's one of their better defensive players. It's a big loss for Wake defensively, and you know, Chase Jones, number 21, will come in his place, and it may be one of the things that help, you know, North Carolina State fight back offensively.
Larry time to throw, but he throws that one incomplete. They sent Carter on that route, but incomplete, bring up second down.
And you can see Leary talking to him. He's kind of holding up a signal like, hey, this is what the route was going to be, which is why I threw it where I threw it. Bit of a miscommunication there between quarterback and receiver. Leary didn't seem too happy about
it. Football at the 39-yard line of Wake Forest. Under 9.5 remaining here at Winston-Salem. Larry with the pass incomplete. A lot on that one intended for Lesane. He's really gotten involved in the offense in this one.
Really has, and you know, typically it's been Emezi and Carter, Thayer Thomas, you know, working the slot. We've seen Porter Rooks, who's a player they're excited about, but it's been Lesane, you're right, Dave, who coming into tonight only had 6 catches.
NC State just 2 for 12 and third down conversions. And passing at 1 for 10 is Leary, trying to come up big here on 3rd and 10. Wolfpack quarterback on the move, throwing, and it is complete. And a big pass play got it to Devin Carter, and a first down.
This isn't a Patrick Mahomes type throw, but it's pretty close. Carter's running an in-breaking route. Leary is escaping to his right, and as he's escaping to his right, throwing a route that is breaking to his left across his body, they tell you not to do, but with his arm talent, he can make throws like that.
Arm talent, you hear that phrase a lot with him. That went for 16 yards. Going to go short into the flat and drag down Emezi. And taken down by Keith. Here's that throw across the body you talked about.
I mean, you see it. He's sprinting to his right because he's being chased. And Carter's breaking in. They say don't do that. That's a really impressive throw. You just see his talent. And NC State just at this point, you see 48 attempts. They're just better at throwing the football right now than they are at running.
So he's over 300 yards again, 325 and counting. 8:20 to go. Will something open up? He goes for the end zone and he just fires that one out. Threw that away. 2nd down and 10.
And it's a good job by Wake there. North Carolina State's trying to run a corner flat combination, but with a switch route. And Wake Forest does a good job of passing it off, which forced Leary to throw it away. And you know, Bam Knight back in the lineup, but you know, Devin Leary, you see him with his 4th straight 300-yard passing game. I just think they're more effective in some of these gotta-have-it situations. I think they're more apt to throw the football than try to run it.
The school record for touchdown passes very much in reach for him. Back to throw once again. To the end zone and caught! Tremendous play by Emezi. He makes the grab from 13 and a touchdown. Boy, he is just a dynamite target.
Dynamite target, and the play by the quarterback was dynamite as well. Emezi's in, ball's high and up over the defender, gets his initial foot down, and Leary, they say he doesn't get bothered. They say he's kind of unfazed by adversity and some of the things around him. That was a great example of it, and now they'll go for 2 to get within 3.
38-33. Leary with an empty backfield. Looking for a 2-point conversion. Throwing again, and it's caught again. And they convert it. It's Emezi once again. Spins around, makes the play. And down the stretch we come. 2-point conversion.
Listen, the biggest matchup discrepancy in the favor of NC State is 86 on the defensive backs for Wake Forest. And that time it's Jasir Taylor. And if you see how Wake lined up, they put 4 out to Leary's right side. And then they had isolated on the left side Emeka Emezi. And so basically if it's one-on-one, you've got the green light to give him an opportunity to touch it, and it's exactly what Leary did.
Emeka Emezi is flat a handful. 6'3", 210 senior has had a magnificent career. All-time NC State receptions king, has him dancing. Touchdown catch and then a 2-point conversion to make it a 3-point game with 8 minutes to go. So Morin back at the goal line. And that one will go right through, and they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line.
You take a look back, at the touchdown. You see Leary climbing to his left, making that throw on the run. That's really, really good. And then you get to the 2-point play. You just get one-on-one coverage. And look at where that ball's thrown. Emezi knows, look, hey, this ball could be thrown towards the, the back end line, or it could be back shouldered. And that's where Leary threw it. An outstanding adjustment to the football in concentration.
He's going to be fun to watch on Sundays.
He sure will be.
So Hartman with the handoff. Wake Forest back with a football. And suddenly a 3-point game. Van with the stop on Turner. And a pickup of just 2. Brings up 2nd down and 8. This was the game that so many in the conference wanted to see, this kind of a contest. Trying to wriggle free is Turner, but couldn't do it. Ingle coming up from the free safety, and that is a 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, and here's what Tanner Ingle's doing. He's kind of slow playing, his, commitment to the run. He's kind of, holding his ground as if he's going to stay in pass coverage. And then once he thinks that ball's been handed off, it's like he's shot out of a cannon to the line of scrimmage to make a play. And it's been really, really hard to decipher what he's doing for Sam Hartman. He's done an excellent job getting ball carriers to the ground tonight.
7 minutes to go. Hartman just 18 out of 43, 3 touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions. And complete to Stewart. And Stewart extending across the 40 for a 12-yard gain and a first down.
Sam Hartman basically threw it to the only guy that was getting doubled. It was Stewart. Fortunately for Hartman, Stewart was able to split the double on his in-cut.
First down 10 for Wake. Up by 3 here in the 4th. On the carry, Turner. Looking for an edge, couldn't find one there, and Van tied him up. And a gain of 1. Both teams ranked in the top 20. And a game as big as it gets in the Atlantic Division. Whoever wins has a giant upper hand. Hartman going long down the center, has a man, and it's broken up, incomplete. Intended for A.T. Perry. Had 2 men with him.
Had 2 men with him, but again, kind of splitting what looks like a double. This time just running right through it. And I think Boykin gets his left arm in there at the same time. Like we see A.T. Perry, that's a drop. Like we've seen A.T. Perry all season long make those catches. 22 targets and just 5 catches.
It's astounding.
It is astounding.
Came in with 42 receptions and 10 touchdowns. He's been working all night long. You'd expect more catches, though. 3rd down 9 for Hartman. That pass, and once again going to be complete to Morin as he struggles. The ball popped free. NC State says they have it, but was he downed on the play? 5:46 to go here in the fourth. NC State still acting like they picked up a loose ball.
Ruling on the field is a catch, and the runner was down. First down.
That's the ruling on the field. Take a look.
There's more in there. His backside's on the ground before that ball comes out.
They are going to review it, but it looked like the proper call on the field.
Yeah, and they should review it. And you know, he's got that ball as his kind of left hip hits the ground and
picks up 14 if it stands. We go to the break.
Coming up on a Huddle postgame, immediate action to the finish behind us. Another exciting chapter added to Miami FSU. And LeBron shouting out the ACC network. All that coming at you postgame. David Tim.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. 38-35. Wake Forest facing a first down and 10. Hartman wants to throw, but the pocket collapsing. He's going to get sacked on the play. Abraham Kante nose tackle, and they're going to lose 3.
Hartman's looking for Perry to his left, and I think he thinks he's going to get single coverage. NC State runs a player out underneath, and he gets stuck holding the football, and that's why Conte's able to just continue with his pass rush and get home.
2nd and 13. Hartman racing. And we'll throw that one out. Pressure brought by NC State's Josh Harris and also Vi Jones. They were on him to bring him 3rd and 13. Less than 5 minutes to go. These two quarterbacks have combined to throw nearly 100 times, 97 times in this game. Hartman is 20 for 47, 290 yards. 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Coming for him, lofts it up for Perry. Perry battling, it's busted up, and a flag is down. A flag down on the play. Chris Ingram in coverage. 4:49 to go, and a pass interference.
15-yard penalty
on Ingram.
And an automatic first down.
Automatic first down.
I was surprised to see NC State come after Sam Hartman there. That was zero coverage. That was all-out blitz on 3rd and long. When really you just need to, I think, play soft, keep it in front of you, and you'll force a punt. They decided to come after him and made it easy for Hartman to get one-on-one with Perry, throw it up, and get the PI.
13 penalties, 119 yards against NC State. As Ellison dives forward. Jones with a tackle.
And I think with where we are right now, with 4.5 minutes left in this game, I think we're going to see Wake slow this down. Now, that being said, you know, they're not running the football effectively tonight. And so, you know, the reality that you're going to be able to hold this long enough to kind of prevent NC State from getting an opportunity, you know, to get the ball back. And I don't know that there's enough clock to do that.
Hartman keeps is going to run it. Nice hole opens up. He's bouncing outside, getting inside the 20-yard line, and then out. He was trying to stay in bounds there to run some more clock.
I mean, the ideal situation for Wake, obviously, is take as much time as you can off the clock and then score a touchdown. You see Hartman, yeah, he is trying to do that. I think with where you are in the field, we saw, you know, North Carolina State with less than a minute left in the half, you know, come down and score with no timeouts. To me, this feels a little early to really, you know, tap the brakes.
Play clock all the way down to 1. They get it off. And a handoff, Ellison. Ellison picking up some yards. Stopped by Joseph. That's a 6-yard gain. And will Leary have enough time? Running down almost 3 minutes.
And to think that this drive started with 8:07 left in the quarter.
Second down 4 at the 12-yard line. This is the 12th play of the drive. Wake Forest up by 3 and running down that play clock down to 4 now. Hartman. Another handoff. Ellison busting past the 5-yard line before he gets stacked up. He rips off an 8-yarder and they move the chains again.
Yeah, and that right there, you know, now I think you're in a situation where, like, you just got to hold them to a field goal because now you are going to run out of time.
2:15, 2:14 on this long drive by Wake Forest. What a time to do it. They get to the 4-yard line. First and goal for Sam Hartman.
And I think if you're Wake Forest, you're running the ball on first and second down.
Remember, Hartman can be so dangerous running the football as well. Ellison straight on, and he is in. Touchdown. A 4-yard scamper to the end zone. Justice Ellison cashing in.
Cashing in, and then how about just the physical nature of this Wake Forest offense? For a team that really was struggling to run the football tonight, to get into a situation where you're trying to burn clock and run the football, to be able to just push NC State back and get it in the end zone is impressive effort by the Wake offense.
Indeed, not what you think of when you think of Wake Forest and their high-powered offense, as Skiba drills it to make it 45-35. But Hartman and company have taken a 10-point lead as we take a look at our Bojangles big moment.
Well, here's what happens. The big moment is these guys up front just working double teams, and then it's Ellison the back finding his way through there with some tough physical running. And that's pulling Drake Thomas into the end zone. And, you know, with no Christian Beal-Smith tonight, I think it's been a pretty good effort. And listen, they don't care that it's in the 30s.
Heck no.
They care that they got a pretty good football team to watch.
And closing in on 6-0 in the ACC and 9-1. Ellison, by the way, quietly a real hero in this game. 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, and a touchdown reception. Justice Ellison, as you mentioned, with Christian Beal-Smith out, taking on that hero role in the backfield.
Has definitely carried it the most, and obviously with those numbers been super productive with it.
Another short kick and a fair catch at the 21-yard line by Jordan Houston. So here comes Leary, who's had such an impressive season, underrated in some circles, but can he pull off a miracle here with a minute 47 to go? And his team down 45-35. Devin Leary, 31 for 50, 338, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And it's going to be complete to Thomas, who paid for that but picks up a first. That's a 20-yard gain.
And, you know, we know they have the quick strike ability. They have the receivers to get it done, and they have a quarterback that can certainly attack all areas of the field.
Pitches that one forward, and a run made by Person. Ricky Person chased out by Red, a 6-yard pickup. But just a minute and a half to go, 2nd down and 4.
And with all 3 timeouts, You know, we saw it at the end of the first half. I mean, that could be an eternity with all 3 timeouts left for NC State.
Leary dropped the ball, scooped it up, has to run for the sideline, and throws that one away, bringing up 3rd down and 4.
It was Villain who wins on the pass rush, and you know, I thought he was going to get to Leary. Leary loses the ball and is able to kind of gather it, and I thought he's maybe going to find Carter working the sideline. I won't be surprised to see that angle screen that we see NC State run sometimes.
Ricky Person in the backfield with Leary. Minute 21 to play. Throwing short to Person and trying to get there. And stopped by Chase Jones, but he does get 3 yards, and they are short.
Yeah, I think Chase Jones does a nice job there in the open field. It was almost like Person, you know, thought he was going to be able to sneak by, and well, in this gotta-have-it situation, for NC State, quite honestly, I think you get up and quarterback sneak with the way that Wake Forest is aligned. 4th and 1.
Person a handoff. 1st down and a little bit more than that to move the chains, and he gains 5 yards. And a timeout, NC State.
NC State.
So down to 2 for Dave Doran.
Yeah, I think they needed that timeout for, you know, Person to catch a breather. There's also, you know, a chance to stop the clock and regroup. You know, people always talk about the defense getting tired in 2-minute drive situations and how that can affect the pass rush. And there's obviously truth to that. You know who else gets tired? The offense.
Oh, sure.
The receiver sprinting downfield.
Over and over.
And then sprinting back, you know, to the line of scrimmage, only to sprint down the field again. And you know, you think about the magnitude of this football game. We talked about it at the top, and we've touched on it throughout the game. But, you know, essentially, with Wake Forest being 5-0 in the conference, a win tonight, you know, it creates a path for them that's a really, really good one, the ACC championship game, and obviously the same drill for NC State.
Of course, they'll travel to Death Valley to take on Clemson. Leary unleashes one and a catch by Thomas. And a 1st down. Moving the football quickly, 23 yards.
Listen, I will tell you this right now. I would not be against kicking the field goal right now. It's a 2-score game. You just got the big completion. There's a minute left. You need 2 scores. Go ahead and kick it. Save yourself as much time as possible.
1st and 10 for Leary. Time to throw. Sets up and a pop right there at the goal line. Incomplete. And it was Thomas again, the intended receiver. Say hello to Evan Slocum, the free safety.
Yeah, Slocum with a nice play, drive on the ball. They're trying to hit a little bender. It's Thomas bending into the middle of the field with 2 split safeties, and it's a good job at Slocum just getting that shoulder to the hands, you know, staying away from a hit to a defenseless receiver, but yet separating the man from the ball.
2nd and 10. At the 18-yard line. Leary again. Rifles that one. It's Thomas looking to break free, trying to extend forward. He got out of bounds.
Getting out of bounds is critical there. Now, listen, here, I think because you're inside the 10-yard line, like now you've got to get your touchdown. Now's the chance to get your touchdown.
Absolutely.
Back outside the 20, you know, because you still need a lot to happen, but in from here, you know, this should be 4 opportunities at least where you're throwing the ball to the end zone, and I'd work a Mezzi.
1st and goal, and incomplete. Indeed, it was a Mezzi again, the intended receiver. Leary at 400 yards, 36 for 58.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a grab.
Sure
a little bit. A grab by Taylor. I'm going to tell you right now, unless he is doubled, I'm trying that at least 2 more times. but it does look like they're going to rotate a player over the top.
2nd and goal. That's a dart trying for the end zone, leaning ahead, and did he get in? He did. Touchdown. Touchdown, Devin Carter. 8 yards and the score. So there's your touchdown for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, and there's the Emeka Emezi effect, because you throw the fade to him on 1st down. Wake decides, look, we're going to roll coverage over the top. Well, what that does is it creates more space for the route combination on the other side, which is why Carter's able to catch it and punch it in.
Done on for the extra point. And it is perfect. What a finish we have here with 45 seconds to go.
This is what I mean. Here's a Messi over here. So look what they have. 1 defender, 2 defenders. Well, when you do that, now when you run Carter underneath, there's just more space to operate and obviously an opportunity to punch the ball in. So Emeka Emezi, what he did earlier in the game in the red zone, and the fact that they threw it to him on 1st down, I think dictated how Wake Forest wanted to defend it. And it's a good job of Devin Leary seeing it. And I think now, with 45 seconds left, we're looking at an onside kick situation. And if NC State is able to get it with 2 timeouts left, that's a long time.
Sure is. 45-42 with 45 seconds to go. And Messi, by the way, 10 catches, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's come up big. And Leary with 400 yards. He's done. Going for the onside kick, and he got it. Did it go 10? Ricky Person able to scoop it up.
I think there's going to be a question of whether or not Ricky Person allowed it to go 10 yards. To me, it looked like he did initially.
Illegal touching by the kicking team. Touching the ball before it traveled for 10 yards. Ball be placed at that spot. 1st down, Wake Forest.
Did not go 10.
All right, so the 45-yard line is where the ball needs to get to. And, Person, I think, starts to slow down. You see him there, slow down. Oof. And from that angle, it's going to look like he is, touching the ball early, but you see him wait. And man, is that close.
Is it ever? He was hesitating as long as he possibly could.
Is under further review.
So they're going to review it, obviously. Oh, is that close?
And I'm going to tell you on that look, because, we're coming at it from the other direction. From that look, it looks like, I think he maybe did allow it to go the full 10 yards. Looking at it from this angle, obviously behind, it seems like he grabs it early.
Giant call coming up here.
We've had one of these here before where, you just, and that seems early to me as we look at it from the highest angle we have. But when I say early, I mean,
is there enough evidence to overturn it?
I mean, called the other way, I don't think you're flipping it. And so called this way, I don't think you're flipping it.
So that's under review to see whether he allowed it to go 10. Ruling on the field was no.
Yeah, and when you look at it from some of the other angles, and when you take this into consideration, he, as we kind of zoom in on this here, and I think that he's just before it goes 10 yards.
Would appear to be the case.
When I say just, I mean like less than a foot. We're talking inches.
Inches. Wow. That is the last angle we can show you. 45 seconds to play. 45-42 Wake Forest.
The crazy thing is when you see it in his chest, he's straddling that 45-yard line.
Review, the ruling on the field stands.
And a cheer goes up for Wake Forest. The play stands. Illegal touching there, did not go 10. NC State still with 2 timeouts remaining. 45 seconds on the clock. And the Demon Deacons with the football. Trying to ice this one in the chill of Winston-Salem and pick up their 9th victory and their 6th in the ACC. And a hit here by Engel. As Hartman stayed upright there. 42 seconds to go. We take a look at tonight's player spotlight. Brought to you by Geico. Hartman 20 out of 47. 5th consecutive game with 3 touchdown passes and a rushing touchdown as well. He was also intercepted 3 times.
And Dave, I said it earlier, for Sam Hartman, it didn't start out great at all. It was actually really a struggle. But really good players have the ability to fight back through it. And I think that is exactly what Sam Hartman did tonight. It wasn't perfect. He had drops. He missed some throws. But he continued to battle. We saw him banged up, and the way he ran the football, the way he hung in there under pressure, and then the way he delivered the throws at the most critical moments down the stretch.
I think that's it, Tim. I think great players do that. He's having a great year. And it was clutch. 2nd down 13. And taking a knee. On the other side, a dejected Devin Leary.
Timeout, NC State.
37 for 59. Threw the football 59 times. 408 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pair of interceptions tonight.
And so tonight, even with some of the struggles we saw early from Hartman, I mean, he still turned around and had a great night. And then, you know, for Devin Leary, he was incredible. Like, NC State is a throw it all around the yard type of offense at this point, and Devin Leary's been great. You know, the other aspect that's been really good tonight, I know it's, you know, 42 points, one of them on a kickoff return, but with the Wake Forest defense,
yes,
found a way to battle and hang in there and do enough.
They've had some really good defensive games. They've had some really poor ones, but when they needed to, they were pretty stout, particularly in that first half. And that will do it. Dave Clawson and the Demon Deacons remain perfect inside the ACC and the Atlantic. They are now 6-0 in the conference, 9-1. They knock off an outstanding NC State Wolfpack team by a final score of 45-42 in a game that had just about everything.
It had everything. It had injuries, great quarterback play, fun to watch.
Yep, let's go down to Kelsey with Dave Clawson.
Coach, an in-state rivalry game, as he says hello to one of the other players. Coach, an in-state rivalry game. You knew what was on the line in this one. Major implications for the postseason of the ACC. What does this win say about your program?
Well, we've come a long way, but, you know, there's still some big games out there, and it wasn't a clean game. You know, we gave up 2 kickoff returns. We turned the ball over. But, man, our kids play hard, and I'm just really proud of them.
Your players talked this week about what a win like this would mean, your seniors and your captains, not just for them, but for this program and what you guys are building. How proud are you of the way they finished?
I'm really proud. I mean, NC State's a very good football team, and those guys played really hard, too, and came down to 1 snap.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That guy's done a heck of a job. Wake Forest will travel to Death Valley to face Clemson next week. And then Boston College November 27th. But here are the ACC Atlantic top 3. Wake perfect at 6-0. That's a hammer of a win.
That's a huge win, which is why you see students running out of the stands to get on the field. And you know, Dave Clawson's right. It wasn't perfect. And I think, you know, his team, you know, has kind of had to deal with prosperity throughout the season. And this was the first week they were going to have to deal with some adversity. And I'd say they were up to the task.
These teams combined for 888 total yards of offense. For Tim Hasselbeck and Kelsey Riggs, this is Dave O'Brien saying so long. Now we send you to Jordan and company on the set. Guys, I hope you're staying warm.
What a game. Wake Forest holds on, beating NC State to the tune of 45-42. The Demon Deacons improved to 9-1 and are now in firm control of their destiny in the Atlantic. And you know what that means. Storm the field, come one, come all. They braved the elements. They rode with the highs and the lows, and it resulted in a Wake Forest win over the visiting Pack squad. And the Pack brought their fans into this one. The Deeks helped fill this place up as well. This was everything you'd want in an ACC football matchup in November with a whole lot on the line. To talk about it for the next hour, your host Jordan Cornette, Eric McLean, EJ Manuel, Eddie Royal kicking it with the crew.